Chapter 365. After walking for about 2 kilometers, Xiaoqun found a night market. Xiaoqun bought some snacks like liangpi and rice noodles at a roadside snack shop. He then bought a set of clothes for Yi Xiaoye and went back. Xiaoqun noted down Yi Xiaoye's measurements and even bought a set of underwear for her. The vendor didn't care about Xiaoqun's outfit at all. He thought that Xiaoqun was a street performer at the night market. Just as he was about to go back, Xiaoqun saw 2 familiar faces. It wasn't surprising to see familiar faces at the entrance of the Zheng family's house. After all, everyone was gathered at the summit. But now Xiaoqun was a little surprised. The most surprising thing was, how did the 2 familiar faces get together? Yeah. Jing Xiaoqun also saw Xiaoqun and ran over excitedly. The familiar face next to him ran over. Xiaoqun also knew it. It was Lu Jinming. Oh, it's Jing Xiaoqun. Why are you here? This is? Xiaoqun pointed at Lu Jinming and asked. He knew Lu Jinming, but he was wondering why they were together. Don't mention it. White Fox, this is a classmate of mine. He insisted that I bring him to see the Songning summit. Do you think I have the ability to do that? I have to be very careful when I go to watch the competition myself. Why would I bring him there? Jing Xiaoqun looked helpless. He never thought that Lu Jinming would beg him to come, but he did. Moreover, Lu Jinming's reason was very dignified. You said that I'm Xiaoqun's little brother now, right? You and Xiaoqun are good friends, right? Then there shouldn't be any conflict between us. We're on the same side. Why don't you bring me there? Jing Xiaoqun felt helpless about this kind of explanation. However, he still explained it to the White Fox hero. For the White Fox hero, bringing someone in was as easy as flipping his hand. Especially after the White Fox hero showed off his might tonight, he believed that no one would dare to disrespect the White Fox hero. However, what Jing Xiaoqun meant was that Lu Jinming and I don't have a good relationship. Moreover, we used to be enemies. Because of another friend, we barely managed to form a relationship. Hence, if Hero White Fox was willing to bring him along, then it was up to him. If not, then it was up to him. He didn't want to waste his relationship with Hero White Fox because of Lu Jinming. Ah, you are the White Fox hero. I've heard a lot about you. I'm Jing Xiaoqun's good friend. I'm his good friend's younger brother. My name is Lu Jinming. Previously, Jing Xiaoqun did not agree to let Lu Jinming attend the summit. So Lu Jinming pestered Jing Xiaoqun to tell him many things that happened at the summit. Naturally, Jing Xiaoqun mainly talked about the legendary White Fox. When Lu Jinming heard that the person in front of him was the legendary White Fox, he was overjoyed and quickly came over to introduce himself. This was a ruthless person. If the Lu family could have a relationship with him, then the Lu family's position would be preserved. Although the Lu family was one of the 9 aristocratic families, it was only at the bottom. It could be replaced by the Zheng family or a new family at any time. Seeing that Jing Xiaoqun and White Fox were quite familiar with each other, Lu Jinming was a little afraid. If the Zheng family and White Fox were to have a good relationship, what would happen to his family? Although his family's old ancestor was quite powerful, it was only against those families in Songning City. The person in front of him was an existence that defeated Li Shanying and trampled on Leng Youxiang. Moreover, he came from a big sect. If he slapped his old ancestor, wouldn't he be defeated? Although Lu Jinming was a little arrogant and stupid usually, he also understood that he could only be arrogant when the Lu family was powerful. If the Lu family couldn't, his future would be Jing Xiaoqun. Oh. Xiaoqun nodded indifferently and said, then let him have a look tomorrow. Just tell the guard that I said it. If he doesn't agree, let him come to me. Ah, thank you, White Fox. Lu Jinming was overjoyed. Although Jing Xiaoqun was a little puzzled as to why White Fox wanted Lu Jinming to go, he could only nod and say, okay, I understand. Okay, you guys have fun first. I still have something to do, so I'll go back first. The reason why Xiaoqun wanted Lu Jinming to go was because he was afraid that he would go somewhere far tomorrow. If he left halfway, it would be hard to explain to Missy. Now that Lu Jinming had something to do, even if he wanted to meet Missy, it could only be before the summit. When the summit started, he would have to end it. White Fox, let me send you. Before Jing Xiaoqun could speak, Lu Jinming spoke first. There's no need. I'm used to walking. Xiaoqun shook his head. Then White Fox, take care. Lu Jinming said quickly. After Xiaoqun left, Lu Jinming said, Jing Xiaoqun, hurry up. Tell me more about White Fox. You can ask about it yourself. I have to go home. If you want to come, wait for me at the Zheng family's door at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. I'll bring you in. After that, Jing Xiaoqun left. He was a little depressed. Why did White Fox seem to be a little enthusiastic towards Lu Jinming? In fact, Zheng Xiaoquan also wanted to use White Fox to change the Zheng family's situation. Now that Lu Zhiming was involved, it wasn't easy. Unlike Zheng Xiaoquan's worries, Lu Zhiming went home in high spirits. He wanted to claim credit from his father and grandfather. Lu Zhiming had done a great thing that was beneficial to the family. Previously, his pursuit of Qing Menjing was unsuccessful. This made Lu Siwen lose patience with him. He wanted to find another marriage partner for him. Lu Siwen felt that the Qing family probably couldn't match up to him. However, Lu Zhiming begged for a while, so Lu Siwen delayed his action. Now Lu Zhiming wanted to show his father how long he could wait. Compared to White Fox, what was the Qing family? White Fox was from a big sect and he was the strongest in the summit. Shen Jingxian sent the recording to his sister, Shen Jingxian. Shen Jingxian was still staying at Qing Menjing's house today. She saw her brother's voice message and was a little puzzled. However, she didn't dare to listen to it in front of Qing Menjing. She secretly ran to the bathroom and pressed the play button. Quick. White Fox, faster, 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 faster. Okay, can you go faster? I'm afraid you can't take it. I can take it. Hurry up. Okay. Don't stop, White Fox. Listening to the shameless conversation on the phone, Shen Jingxian was so angry that she gritted her teeth. This Yi Xiaoya is too shameless, isn't she? It said that she said such words. Seems like I said it the other day too. I said it because I was drugged and my mind was not clear, but this Yi Xiaoya is definitely sober and Xiaoqin is actually so cooperative with him. He must feel good looking at himself. This guy, he said it was a misunderstanding? Is this a misunderstanding? Shen Jingxian didn't believe in any misunderstanding anymore. Xiaoqin is a big liar through and through. Isn't this conversation enough to prove the problem? Shen Jingxian was so angry that she almost smashed the phone. Fine Xiaoqin, this is how you treat me? Shen Jingxian was so angry that she cried again. She realized that liking someone is really hard. If you don't accept everything about him, then you have to suffer for him. However, Shen Jingxian really doesn't want to accept it. Why is he like this? It's not like I'm that bad. Is this the goddess that I've had a crush on for years? He doesn't cherish what he has in his hands. Men are all like this. I'll let you touch me again. Jingxian, what are you doing? I'm going to take a shower. Qing Menjing realized that Shen Jingxian went to the washroom for a long time. She anxiously knocked on the door. I'm reading a novel on my phone, I'm addicted. Shen Jingxian was shocked and quickly opened the washroom door. Reading a novel? Qing Menjing was stunned, but when she saw Shen Jingxuan's red eyes, she couldn't help but be surprised. Jingxian, are you crying? Oh, I'm reading School Bell's Bodyguard. Uncle Yu, this bad guy, wrote about Tang Yun going to Shuegu. Linny is still so fickle, I'm crying reading it. Shen Jingxian said. Tang Yun went to Shuegu? The TV didn't show this. So sad, I'll scold him later. Qing Menjing snorted. I added him. Really? Then I'll add him too and tell him not to write such a sad novel. Shen Jingxian nodded. Tell me your account number. You're in 22, just add me. It's the first verified account, Qing Menjing said. Qing Menjing said, I want him to give me the female lead in the new book, but that guy Lu Zhiming is really annoying. He also wants to be the female lead. After Shen Jingxian added him, she secretly sent a message when Qing Menjing wasn't paying attention. Uncle Yu, in the new book, can the male lead be called Xiaoqin and the female lead be called Shen Jingxian? Thank you. She didn't know what she was thinking. Maybe it was because Xiaoqin made her sad, and she wanted to find some comfort in the fictitious novel. Or maybe she wanted to give Qing Menjing some hints. When the novel was published, Qing Menjing would read it. Maybe it wouldn't be so awkward when her relationship with Xiaoqin was exposed. In short, Shen Jingxuan's thoughts were very complicated. The two used to shower together. Qing Menjing took off her clothes and went into the shower room first. Shen Jingxian put down her phone and followed. Qing Mingqiang drove Xiao Xiao home. He didn't understand why she didn't sit in the front passenger seat, but in the back seat instead of the front passenger seat. However, Xiao Xiao was already sitting there, so it wasn't appropriate for him to ask further. On the way to the Xiao family's house, Qing Mingqiang's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and saw that it was his father, Qing Zhongfan. After thinking about it, Qing Mingqiang felt that Xiao Xiao was in the car. Some words might not be appropriate to say, so he didn't pick it up. Xiao Xiao's eyes flashed. She gritted her teeth, moved her body and sat behind Qing Mingqiang. Then she stretched out her hands and gently put them on Qing Mingqiang's shoulders, gently massaging him. Chapter 366. Wo carrot, Cheng Mingxiang groaned comfortably. The spectator seats in the Zheng family's martial arts arena were not very comfortable. He had sat for a whole night and his shoulders were hurting a little. He did not expect Xiao Xiao to be so considerate. He was suddenly in a good mood. I knew it. Xiao Xiao spoke up for me yesterday. She almost quarreled with Cheng Menjing. How could she be so cold to me today? It turned out that she sat in the back row to give me a surprise. Because Cheng Mingxiang did not answer the phone, Qing Zhongfan called again not long after. Cheng Mingxiang glanced at it and picked it up. Xiao Xiao's massage technique was really good. He was already in heaven. Hello, Dad. What's the matter? Cheng Mingxiang asked. Over there. Today I asked about Xiao Qin again. Is the Chao Yuliang you made reliable? Now that Xiao Qin is not dead and Qin Jinping is dead first. If you can't do it, can you change the person? Qing Zhongfan was also very annoyed. He really could not wait. Xiao Qin, that? I didn't see him? He definitely can't come to the summit. I'm sending Xiao Xiao home. I'll go back soon. Although we agreed that Xiao Qin would return to the Xiao family, he is not a member of the Xiao family for the time being. He can't go to the summit. Cheng Mingxiang did not answer the question. However, Qing Zhongfan immediately understood Cheng Mingxiang's meaning and said, Okay, then you send Xiao Xiao home. We'll talk about it later. Okay. Cheng Mingxiang hung up the phone. After hanging up the phone, the car became unusually quiet. Cheng Mingxiang's car was specially made with imported soundproofing, so the atmosphere suddenly became a little strange. However, Xiao Xiao's massage was still going on. However, Cheng Mingxiang felt a little uneasy in his heart. Xiao Xiao, just now my father asked if Xiao Chen would attend the summit. Oh. Xiao Xiao answered indifferently. If he can go back, it'll be considered as me giving the Xiao family an explanation. When he goes back has nothing to do with me. Although I don't like him very much, I can't let the Xiao family be without a successor. Ah, how could that be? Our Cheng family will keep our promise, Cheng Mingxiang said proudly. I'm also a member of the Cheng family. If I don't keep my word, it won't look good on me, Xiao Xiao said. Hearing Xiao Xiao's words, Cheng Mingxiang was a little excited. That's right. Xiao Xiao, when can we take another step forward? Think about it, if our relationship is completely established, I can also talk to my family and let Xiao Qin go back early. Give me some time. I'm not ready yet, Xiao Xiao said. But don't worry, I won't make you wait too long. Okay. Cheng Mingxiang was very excited. He drove the car and hummed a little tune. Xiao Xiao's eyes flashed with a hint of viciousness. It was said that when a man was at that time, he was the most defenseless. Was that true? After Xiao Qin left the Chen family, Qin Wuxian, Qin Huanling, and Qin Zhantian treated Chu Jingyan as a guest of honor. They invited him to the reception room and prepared the best tea. President Chu, although our Qin family seems to be very prosperous now, we don't have a successor in the third generation. Qin Huanling complained. Although he was already the vice president of the Songning Martial Artist Guild, if the Qin family continued like this, it wouldn't be long before his generation came to an end. Vice President Qin, at our level there are some words and some things that I have to say. Don't you still have a son? Chu Jingyan said. But he, with his current status and what I did to him and his mother, will he still recognize me as his father? It wasn't that Qin Huanling hadn't thought about it before, but in order to marry into a foreign business family, he had abandoned his wife and children. He had even divorced his pregnant girlfriend in order to climb up the social ladder. It was precisely because of the support of that business family that the Qin family had risen step by step, and Qin Huanling had been able to sit in his current position. How do you know if you don't try? In the end, he's still a member of the Chen family. Chu Jingyan laughed. If it really doesn't work, you can only have another child with sister-in-law. We martial artists have very long lives anyway, so it's not that difficult. I'll find a chance to try. If it really doesn't work, I'll have to have another child with brother or me, Qin Huanling said. You should do, Huanling, forget about me. Your sister-in-law had a difficult birth when she was pregnant with Jean Kuan, so she can't get pregnant anymore. Now that Jean Kuan has a problem, she still hasn't walked out of the shadow. If I have a child with someone else and her family finds out, wouldn't it be looking for trouble? Also, I'm old, almost 60 years old, but you're still young. Qin Zhantian sighed. Right, that white fox hero, where did he come from? Why is he so powerful? It seems that he's been active in Songning City recently? As the vice president of the Warrior Guild, Qin Huanling didn't pay attention to the White Fox before. He should be from the Demonic Star sect, but recently he and the Demonic Star sect's Yi Biya have been active within the boundaries of Songning City. We should avoid disciples from such sects as much as possible, because our municipal warriors guild is only responsible for coordinating and managing the aristocratic families in our Songning city's territory. We have no right to interfere with them. Chu Jingban said, "You almost caused a disaster and ruined your family. If you dare to put him on the wanted list, you won't be able to reason with him if he destroys your family." How could I have thought so much before? Qin Huanling said with some fear. But I'll leave the investigation of Jing Peng's death to President Chu. Don't worry about this, I'll give you an answer as soon as possible. Chu Jingyan nodded. Xia family house. Xia Qin excitedly looked at the Warrior Guild app on his phone. The news of the White Fox being wanted list made his blood boil. Especially when he saw that the wanted list was issued by the vice president of the Warrior Guild, Qin Huanling, he was extremely happy. This meant that the White Fox hero was dead. The credibility of this mission was much higher than other private missions. It wouldn't be long before the White Fox became a corpse, right? At that time, with Xin Jinghao's selfish nature, he would definitely come to the Xia family to ask for help. At that time, he would be able to win the beauty's heart with a little bit of effort. This is so cool. Xia Qin, oh Xia Qin, you're really a genius. Winning over Xin Jingshan and gaining the support of the Xin family is the first step. In the future you'll be the head of the Xia family, so this is a piece of cake. Xin Jinghao, who asked you to ignore me? Now someone is paying attention to me. However, before Xia Qin could rejoice for long, he was shocked to find that the bounty on Hero White Fox's bounty on the Warriors Guild app had been removed. However, when he searched further, he was shocked to find that not only was the bounty on the top, but the mission was also not there. It had been deleted. Who deleted it? Only a few higher-ups in the Warrior Guild had the authority to delete the mission, or it was Qin Huanling himself. Xia Qin was stunned. What was going on? Was the White Fox dead or was the mission cancelled? He quickly searched for the White Fox name in the search engine and found that this person was still there. Obviously he hadn't been killed. If he had been killed and turned in the mission, the account and nickname of the White Fox in the Warrior Guild would be cancelled. Now that it was still there, it meant that there was no problem. The only possibility was that the mission was cancelled. Oh, why? He couldn't accept it. Previously he sent an email to Xin Jinghao, but Xin Jinghao ignored him and sent an email to Qin Huanling. The White Fox was immediately wanted, but it was quickly cancelled. What was going on? He couldn't figure it out, but Xia Chen's channels were limited and he couldn't find out. He could only spend the sleepless night in depression. Yu Xiaochuan was driving the car in front with Tang Tang beside him. Yu Xiaochuan kept promoting the White Fox to her. Tang Tang, when you saw the White Fox just now, don't you think he's a real man because he's elegant? Yes. Compared to you, you're a woman, okay? Tang Tang was annoyed by Yu Xiaochuan and couldn't help but be angry. Although she had recovered her beauty image, her personality was still a tomboy. She directly retorted to Yu Xiaochuan. You think so too? Yu Xiaochuan was overjoyed. Then do you worship him? Tang Tang was speechless. Couldn't he tell? She thought so too? She was really anxious for Yu Xiaochuan's IQ. What kind of perverted thinking was this? What do you think? What do you think? Yu Xiaochuan saw that Tang Tang didn't speak, so he couldn't help but continue to ask. I say, Yu Xiaochuan, can you not be crazy? If I worship him, then I'll do it with him and make you wear a green hat. You'll be happy, right? Tang Tang's speaking style was also very valiant. Anyway, it's not your first time. You and Xiaoqin used to. Yu Xiaochuan wasn't angry, but he hinted. Yu Xiaochuan, do you mean that I can still be with Xiaoqin? Tang Tang asked. Of course that's not what I mean. What I mean is, in the future you have to behave yourself. Even if you have an affair, you have to be a handsome man like the White Fox, not Xiaoqin, that trash. Yu Xiaochuan realized that he seemed to have said too much, so he quickly changed the topic and said, oh, cough 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 cough. Zhu Yingxiong heard it clearly in the back. Although he didn't know what Yu Xiaochuan ate wrong medicine, he actually said this. Is he agreeing to Tang Tang and the White Fox having an affair? But this idiot probably didn't know that the White Fox was the boss Xiaoqin. Brother, what are you talking about? Yu Shanshan recently found that her brother seemed to be a bit strange. His thinking was not the same as normal people. Was he provoked by something? Nothing, I'm just kidding. Yu Xiaochuan laughed. It's fine. Right, the idiot who flirted with Shanshan was too weak. He was killed in one move. I thought he was strong. In this summit, I think the White Fox is the strongest. The others are not good enough. Chapter 367. That's right. Zhu Xiong thought, it must be boss Xiaoqin who made a move. Otherwise, no matter how stupid Ouyang Tang was, he wouldn't just stand there and wait to be beaten. Well, little fatty Zhu, you know your brother-in-law. You also think that Master White Fox is very handsome, right? Yu Xiaochuan asked. Yes, he is so handsome. If I were a woman, I would marry him. Zhu Xiong said shamelessly. Yes, yes. Yu Xiaochuan was overjoyed and said, You are good. Be my brother-in-law. I am very optimistic about you. Yu Xiaochuan first sent Tang Tang back to the Tang family. When they arrived at the Tang family's gate, Tang Tang got off first. While Yu Xiaochuan was parking the car, she lowered her voice and asked Zhu Xiong, How is Xiaoqin recently? Very good. Sister-in-law, do you miss him? Zhu Xiong asked with a smile. What sister-in-law? Don't call me that. Yu Xiaochuan and I are not married yet. Tang Tang didn't like this title. Sister-in-law, I mean Xiaoqin is my boss. Of course you are my sister-in-law. Zhu Xiong was stunned. He realized that Tang Tang was talking about Yu Shanshan and Yu Xiaochuan. Obviously he misunderstood. Oh. Tang Tang glared at Zhu Xiong. Then why don't you make it clear that he's fine? When you have time to see him, tell him that I'm fine too. It's just that Yu Xiaochuan is neurotic, but he didn't do anything bad to me. Okay. But sister-in-law, in fact, Master White Fox is not bad. You can think about it. After Zhu Xiong said that, he saw Yu Xiaochuan also got off the car, so he didn't say anything more and said loudly, Goodbye, sister-in-law. Yu Shanshan thought that it was normal for him to call her sister-in-law, so she didn't think there was anything wrong with it. She went back to the car with him. Yu Xiaochuan sent Tang Tang to see Grandpa Tang as usual. Little fatty Zhu Shanshan, wait for me for a while. I'm going to visit Grandpa Tang. Yu Xiaochuan said. Oh, no problem. Zhu Xiong was looking for a chance to be intimate with Yu Shanshan. The two of them held hands and got into the car. Yu Shanshan said, Zhu Xiong, your friend Xiaoqin doesn't seem to be on good terms with my brother? Did he have something going on with my sister-in-law? Why do you care so much about them? It's fine as long as you like me. They can deal with their own affairs. Besides, your brother didn't say anything. Zhu Xiong said. That's true, but have you noticed that my brother seems to have become strange recently? Yu Shanshan asked. I haven't been in contact with your brother before. I don't know what he was like before. Anyway, when I met you, he was already like this. Zhu Xiong shrugged and said, I thought he was just a sissy. My brother wasn't like this before. He was a gentleman, but now I can't tell the feeling. Yu Shanshan sighed. Forget it, I can't control him. I'm married to you, so I'm a member of the Zhu family. Yu Shanshan wasn't particularly beautiful, but she was dignified and had a little baby fat. However, when she stood with Zhu Xiong, they looked like a couple. Moreover, she was a girl who didn't like to get involved in family affairs. Yu Xiaochuan sent Tang Tang back and went to Tang Fongbai's room. Tang Fongbai gestured for him to sit down, and then couldn't help but sigh. Xiaochuan, you've changed a lot recently. Grandpa Tang, I know, but I can't help it. Yu Xiaochuan was also a little depressed. Now I feel like I'm like a woman. Everything is the same. If it goes on like this, sooner or later I'll be exposed. Tang Fongbai was also a little helpless. He couldn't get rid of Yu Xiaochuan, his grandson-in-law. He didn't want him, but he couldn't not have him. In order to keep the secret, they could only become allies. Try not to say too much. Don't let Tang Tang suspect. It's definitely impossible. Tang Tang will suspect sooner or later. But I thought of a good way here, and I'll discuss it with Grandpa Tang. Yu Xiaochuan said. What's the good way? Tell me. Tang Fongbai was really helpless. When he heard that there was a good way, he quickly asked. The current way is I'll let Tang Tang find someone outside so that she can fool around outside, and definitely won't care about me. Even if she finds out about my problem in the future, we can hold each other's weakness, and it won't be a big problem. Yu Xiaochuan said. Tang Fongbai really didn't know how to complain about Yu Xiaochuan's idea. He thought about it and said, Are you sure that Tang Tang won't talk nonsense? Moreover, if she goes outside to find someone, who will she look for? Don't tell me that you'll let her look for Xiaoqin. That won't only be a disgrace to you, but also to the Tang family. Of course not. Yu Xiaochuan shook his head and said, I have a very good candidate, White Fox Hero. I wonder if Grandpa Tang has heard of him? White Fox Hero. Grandpa Tang's heart tightened. The Tang family was also a branch of a famous righteous sect. Although he didn't personally attend the Songning Righteous and Demonic Summit, the second generation of the Tang family was invited to be an audience. Tang Fangbai had also heard about White Fox Hero's awe at the summit, but it was just hearsay. In his eyes, White Fox Hero was a very distant person, and he wouldn't have any interaction with him. He was an amazing genius of a higher level, and he wouldn't care about Tang Fangbai at all. But now Yu Xiaochuan boldly proposed to let Tang Tang have an affair with White Fox Hero. This matter. It sounded a bit reliable. If White Fox Hero and Tang Tang really got together, it would be a good opportunity for the Tang family, and it would be a great help. This was definitely a good thing. Moreover, the most important thing was that White Fox Hero was from the demonic sect. He wouldn't be too disgusted with him and Yu Xiaochuan practicing the Chrysanthemum treasure book, so this was a good candidate. But the key question was, would he like Tang Tang? Even if Tang Tang offered herself to him, it was hard to say if he would be interested. It seems that Grandpa Tang knows about White Fox Hero? Yu Xiaochuan knew that it was impossible for Grandpa Tang not to know. I know, but what are you so sure about letting White Fox Hero and Tang Tang be together? Is he willing? Tang Fangbai asked. We can think of a way to create opportunities for him and Tang Tang to be alone. It's best to make it more ambiguous so that they will fall in love over time. Yu Xiaochuan said, as long as you agree, I'll be responsible for thinking of a way. I have no objections. It's a wise decision for you to bring swordsman White Fox over and have him become our backer. Even if our deeds are exposed one day and we're cast aside and chased by the righteous sects, we can still ask him for help and join the evil cult, right? Tang Fangbai actually had his own thoughts when he said so. In his eyes, White Fox Hero was just a tool for him to rise to the top. His ultimate goal was to become the demonic sect's master. As his strength improved, Tang Fangbai's appetite grew. On the other hand, Yu Xiaochuan's ambition was even greater than Tang Fangbai's. But now that his gender had changed, his personality had also changed. He was now similar to most women without much ambition. Instead, he hoped to be with the person he liked. Yu Xiaochuan wanted Tang Tang and White Fox Hero to be together for his own sake. When he thought of seeing White Fox Hero every day, he would be so happy. Tang Tang still didn't know that she had been privately betrothed by Tang Fangbai and Yu Xiaochuan to a man called White Fox Hero. She lay in bed, thinking about the bits and pieces of the time she used to be with Xiaochen. For a moment, she was filled with emotions. Perhaps those beautiful days would never come again. She missed the days when she got up early every morning to sell fried dough sticks with Xiaochen on the morning market street. How was Kerlin? How was Xiaochen? Did he get together with Cheng Menjing smoothly? Although Tang Tang had been staying at home recently, she still heard the big news. Moreover, when she went out today, she saw Xiao Xiao and Qing Mingqiang together. What did it mean? Was Xiaochen going back to the Xiao family? Tang Tang felt a little sad in her heart, but more than that, she was happy and blessed. She and he both went back and had a different life. Although they liked each other, they didn't make it clear. It was just a beautiful memory. Nothing happened that night. The next morning, Xiaochen left the Zheng mansion early. Anyway, he was used to getting up early, so he went to the morning market street first. Xiaochen didn't know why he came here. Maybe it was because it was full of memories. When he saw Tang Tang yesterday, Xiaochen couldn't calm down for a long time. He didn't know what Yu Xiaochuan was thinking, but when he saw Tang Tang, Xiaochen couldn't help thinking of the days in the morning market street. When he came to the familiar stall, Kerlin's family was busy. Although it was a noodle stall, because of the good location, the business was much better than before. However, it was not as good as when Xiaochen was there. Xiaochen had already put away the mask, so when Kerlin turned around, she saw Xiaochen standing in front of the noodle stall in a daze. Xiaochen. Kerlin hadn't seen Xiaochen for a long time. Although she was a little afraid of Xiaochen, she was worried about Xiaochen when he really disappeared. She didn't know how he was and how he made a living. Oh, Kerlin, how's the business recently? Is there anyone making trouble? Asked Xiaochen. It's okay, no one is making trouble. Kerlin shook her head. How is Sister Tang Tang? Fortunately, she is engaged to another family. Xiaochen sighed. You like Sister Tang Tang? Kerlin saw Xiaochen's lonely expression and guessed. Yes. Xiaochen nodded and didn't deny it. Oh. Kerlin seemed to find that she had misunderstood Xiaochen a little. Did he actually not like her? The people he liked were Xinjingshen and Tang Tang? Otherwise, why didn't he set up the stall here after Tang Tang left and never saw her again? Chapter 368. Thinking of this, Kerlin breathed a sigh of relief and dared to talk to Xiaochen. Do you eat noodles? I'll treat you. 2 bowls. 3 bowls that don't need to be cooked. Just take it away. Xiaochen wanted to bring back a bowl for eldest young mistress, but logically speaking Yi Xiaoya should be at home as well. He should bring back 3 bowls. If he only brought back 2 bowls, eldest young mistress might suspect something. How would he know that Yi Xiaoya wasn't at home? Lin quickly filled 3 bowls for Xiaochen. On the other side Mother Lin saw Xiaochen and was grateful. After all, their stall was given by Xiaochen. She specially filled 2 extra braised eggs for Xiaochen. Xiaochen took out 100 yuan and handed it to Lin, but Lin waved her hand and refused to accept it. Xiaochen didn't force her. He just said, "Thank you. If you have any trouble in number 1 middle school, you can find Zhuing Xiong." Lin's impression of Xiaochen changed a lot. She felt that he was a good person although he had killed people. When he returned to the villa, Miss obviously hadn't gotten up yet. The villa was quiet. Xiaochen first went to his room to take a shower and change his clothes. Then he walked to the kitchen. On the other side of the stairs there were footsteps, but to Xiaochen's surprise there were 2 people. He looked back and saw Cheng Menjing and Shen Jingxian. He was slightly surprised. Shen Jingxian lived here the day before yesterday. Was she here last night? No wonder Miss didn't care if he didn't go back. It turned out that someone was accompanying her at home. Otherwise it would be quite scary if she was alone in such a big villa. "Jingxian, you are here too," Xiaochen said with a smile, "but I bought 3 servings of noodles. I didn't expect you to come. How about I don't eat? Otherwise there won't be enough for little Yi when she comes down." Shen Jingxian cast a cold glance at Xiaochen and sneered in her heart. He was really good at pretending. Did he say that Yi Xiaoya didn't have enough to eat? Is she at home? Yi Xiaoya isn't here. She went out these days. It's just the 3 of us, Cheng Menjing said. That's great. Wait for me. I'll cook the noodles, Xiaochen said calmly. Menjing, what kind of lousy manservant is this? He didn't come home at night, but you didn't scold him, Shen Jingxian said indifferently. Cheng Menjing was stunned. She looked at Shen Jingxian with some surprise. This wasn't her character. Usually Shen Jingxian was very kind. She never criticized others. Even if others did something wrong she would only persuade them with kind words. How could she ridicule them? Menjing, I just think that what he did wasn't very right. It shouldn't be like this. Shen Jingxian also felt that she acted too much. So she restored her usual kind look. Forget it. Who doesn't have something to do? He said that he went to find Zhuing Xiong. I'll give him a vacation. Anyway, Jingxian, you accompany me. I don't need him, Cheng Menjing said. Oh, I'm afraid that he will have a problem if I spoil him. He won't come home at night in the future, Shen Jingxian said. Okay. Xiaochen, you are not allowed to come home at night in the future. Do you hear me? Cheng Menjing said. Okay. Xiaochen nodded. Soon Xiaochen served 3 bowls of noodles. When he just wanted to sit down to eat, he heard Shen Jingxian said, Menjing, do the servants of your Cheng family eat with the master? Cheng Menjing was stunned. She felt strange. Today Shen Jingxian seemed to be particularly against Xiaochen. Did Xiaochen provoke her? But she didn't think it was anything. Xiaochen is different from other servants. After all seeing that he is your ex-fiancé, let him sit here, Shen Jingxian said. What ex-fiancé? Xiaochen, you go to the kitchen and eat by yourself. Cheng Menjing suddenly blushed and drove Xiaochen away. Xiaochen suddenly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why isn't it over yet? I clearly have nothing to do with Yi Xiaoya. Is there really nothing to do with it? Xiaochen was a little guilty. In the current situation Xiaochen and Yi Xiaoya seemed to have a little unclear relationship. However, since the Missy had spoken, Xiaochen had no choice but to carry the bowl to the kitchen to eat. He thought to himself, why is Xin Jingmao's mouth so cheap? She says everything just like a loudspeaker forcing customers. Jingxian, you seem to dislike Xiaochen a little? Cheng Menjing noticed the problem and lowered her voice to ask, did he provoke you? No. Shen Jingxian pretended to be calm and shook her head. Wasn't it my boyfriend who cheated on me? I just remembered that he used to be your fiancé but he still pursued me. Isn't it the same? He is a playboy. Just looking at him makes me angry. Shen Jingshuan's words were ambiguous. Xiaochen listened to it. In fact, she was talking about him from the beginning to the end, and Shen Jingxian also wanted to express this meaning. However, Cheng Menjing would naturally think that the first part was Shen Jingshuan's boyfriend, and the second part was Xiaochen. She automatically ignored that the he in the second half of the sentence actually referred to the former boyfriend. Gosh, it turns out that Xiaochen is unjustly implicated. Cheng Menjing shrugged. Well, I didn't care before. Why do you care? Besides, we are best friends. Liking you and liking me has nothing to do with each other. Moreover, I don't want to be engaged to him. And yes, we are best friends. Xin Jingxian was suddenly very happy after listening, although she knew that Qing Minjing said it unintentionally. Xiaoqun was a little silent in the kitchen. He didn't know how to explain. He also saw that Xin Jingxian was careful in front of Qing Minjing. Suddenly, he felt that he was a little sorry for her. Even if there was nothing between him and Yi Xiaoye, he didn't want to give up Tang Tang. This was a bit unfair for Xin Jingxian. She was so wronged and secretly with him, and he, Xiaoqun, wanted to find a chance to explain to her, but now it seemed that Xin Jingxian didn't give him a chance to explain at all. Now no matter what he said, Xin Jingxian couldn't believe it. After all, her brother had been with her for more than 10 years. Would she believe her brother or herself? Moreover, her brother didn't lie to her. It was just a misunderstanding due to a combination of factors. While eating the noodles, Xin Jingxian was a little surprised. Where did you buy such delicious noodles? Haven't you eaten it before? Morning Market Street. Kerlin's family sold it. It's Xiao Chen's little lover at school. Qing Minjing said lightly. Ah, it's her. Xin Jingshuan's expression just became a little gloomy again. Is Xiao Chen still in contact with her? Who knows? I'm too lazy to ask. Anyway, he's not my fiancé now. Besides, even if he is, isn't it the same thing? Your matter has also made me a lot more open-minded. Thinking so much is just asking for trouble. Now that I have nothing to do with him, I want to enjoy the life of a single princess. I don't care about him. Qing Minjing said, pretending not to care. In fact, she couldn't control Xiao Chen. What could she do to him? You have a good attitude, Xin Jingxian thought. Was she too stubborn? By the way, Jingxian, what are you going to do later? Qing Minjing asked. Beibei and Lu Jinming are coming today. We're going out for a walk. Are you going? Oh, I'll go. I'm free anyway. Xin Jingxian didn't know what she was thinking. She hated Xiao Chen, but she still wanted to be with him. As expected, before long, the sound of a car came from outside the villa. It was Jin Beibei and Lu Jinming. It was the first time for Lu Jinming to come to Qing Minjing's villa. He seemed a little excited and happy. Hey little Lu, you can look around but don't touch. Cousin Minjing likes cleanliness. She's a neat freak. Jin Beibei warned. When she came just now, she saw Lu Jinming waiting at the gate of the villa, so she brought him in. Okay. Lu Jinming nodded. He was about to sit on the sofa when he was scolded. Hey, are your ears not working well when I talk to you? Jin Beibei slapped Lu Jinming hard, making him stagger. I told you that cousin Minjing is a neat freak, but you still sit on the sofa. Do you want to be kicked out? Okay. Lu Jinming nodded and did not dare to move anymore. He turned around and saw Xiao Chen eating noodles in the kitchen. He thought to himself that he was indeed a servant. His treatment was not good at all. He could not even sit on the table. However, he felt a lot better. Previously, he had thought that Xiao Chen and Qing Minjing had an affair in private, and that Xiao Chen was deliberately tricking him. But now it seemed that this was not the case. The main thing was that Xiao Chen's own status was not high, and there was indeed a limit to how much he could help him. Boss Xiao Chen, are you eating noodles? It's plate noodles. Plate noodles are my favorite. Do you have more? Asked Lu Jinming. Xiao Chen pointed at the pot behind him and said, There's more in the pot. You can take it out and eat it yourself. Although Xiao Chen had asked for 3 bowls of plate noodles, Mama Lin had given him enough for 4 to 5 bowls. Also, Qing Minjing and Xin Jingxian could not eat much either. Even though Xiao Chen was a big eater, there was still some left. Ah, great. Lu Jinming scooped up all the noodles in the pot with a bowl. Then he seasoned it with the spicy soup and put an egg on it. Wow, it looked so good. Lu Jinming took out his phone, took a picture and shared it on his WeChat moments. After he was done, he was about to eat when he suddenly remembered that Jin Beibei said that Qing Minjing liked cleanliness. It did not seem appropriate for him to eat without washing his hands. Therefore he went to wash his hands. When he came back from washing his hands, he saw that Jin Beibei was already sitting there and eating his bowl of noodles. He wanted to cry but had no tears. Beibei, that noodles are mine, right? Where is your name? Jin Beibei took a bite and asked, What proof do you have? But it's really mine. Lu Jinming said, Well, look, I even took a picture and shared it on my WeChat moments. Oh, then it's yours. Jin Beibei put down her chopsticks. Chapter 369. Lu Jinming's eyes were brimming with tears. Is she going to give it back to me? Although Jean Bebe was a violent girl, she was also a pretty girl. He did not mind the food that she had tasted before. However, when he was about to go over, Jean Bebe continued. It's yours. I've eaten it. Do you have a problem with that? Jean Bebe squinted at Lu Jinming. It said that cousin Menjing hates stingy boys the most. Dazed, Lu Jinming said in a hurry, of course not. You can eat it. Lu Jinming thought to himself. Why am I always the one who gets hurt? However, he could only hold it in. As it turned out, he saw Shen Jingxian the moment he turned around. What a beauty. She seems to be on par with Cheng Menjing. Where does this beauty come from? He vaguely remembered that he had seen her before. She was with Chen Jinping. Shen Jingxian had an indescribable air of sunshine about her. All the boys would be fascinated by her when they saw her. It was a natural-born attraction. Although the young lady was pretty, she was cold and arrogant. She was cold to everybody at school. Therefore, there were not as many people who pursued her as Shen Jingxian. Lu Jinming thought quickly. He pursued Cheng Menjing for two reasons. Firstly, Cheng Menjing was pretty. Secondly, Cheng Menjing's family background. He did not have any deeper feelings for Cheng Menjing. After all, how long had he known Cheng Menjing? But now, in the face of Cheng Menjing's repeated defeats, Cheng Menjing did not seem to like him at all, and there was no progress for so long. He was thinking that the person beside Cheng Menjing who could be together with Cheng Menjing should not have a simple background, right? Just like Jean Bebe. However, Lu Jinming did not dare to chase after Jean Bebe because he did not want to die yet. If he was killed, he would have died in vain. Given the temper of the Golden Fur Lion King, his family would not be able to handle it. As for Shen Jingxian, although she used to be with Chen Jinping, now that Chen Jinping was dead, did she have a chance? Thinking of this, Lu Jinming suddenly felt a little excited. Menjing, this beauty is? Lu Jinming asked politely. Shen Jingxian, my good friend when I was in number 1 middle school. Cheng Menjing did not put on a cold face. After all, she had come to her home, so she had to deal with her. Shen Jingxian. I am Lu Jinming from the Lu family of the Songning aristocratic family. Nice to meet you. Lu Jinming reached out his hand and wanted to shake hands with Shen Jingxian. Shen Jingxian was a kind person. Although she did not want to shake hands with Lu Jinming had reached out his hand, which put her in a dilemma. If she did not respond, she would embarrass him. If she responded, she would be unwilling. What Lu family of Songning? There is no need to ask. They are from the Xin family of Jianghu. Xiao Qin slapped Lu Jinming's hand away, walked over and said, do you still want to know whether she has a boyfriend or not? Let me tell you, she does. Her boyfriend is the white fox. If you keep talking, be careful that the white fox comes and kills you. Lu Jinming was shocked and he took 2 steps back with a shiver. Oh my god, the Xin family of Jianghu? This was the top family in the province. Even the Qing family could not compare. Moreover, especially the last sentence of Xiao Qin, Shen Jingshuan's current boyfriend is the white fox hero? He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. This was an existence that he couldn't provoke. He was almost done for. If he revealed anything to Shen Jingxian, he would be hated by the white fox swordsman. He wouldn't even know how he died. Shen Jingxian glanced at Xiao Qin and felt a little better. It seemed that Xiao Qin still cared about her, but what he said was also very funny. What did he mean by be careful that the white fox comes and kills you? Wasn't he the white fox? Wow. It turns out to be the white fox hero. I say, only the white fox hero is worthy of such a beautiful girl. Lu Jinming said quickly. Lu Jinming, what do you mean? Are you saying that I am not beautiful? Cheng Menjing stared at Lu Jinming. I know you are worthy of the white fox hero. Lu Jinming said quickly. Why should I be worthy of him? I don't like him. Cheng Menjing snorted and said, besides, I can't steal a man from Jingxian. Right? Right. Shen Jingshuan's heart trembled a little. Actually, Menjing, if you like him, you can also steal him. It's okay. We are sisters. We can share good things. Okay. It's better to share it with others than to enjoy it alone. Jean Bebe said while eating the noodles. Share your head. Eat your noodles. Cheng Menjing kicked Jean Bebe. Yes, Miss Shen, can you introduce me to the white fox hero? I admire him very much. Lu Jinming asked shamelessly. Yesterday he had just discussed the future direction of the Lu family with his father, Lu Siwen. Because he was not young anymore, Lu Siwen intended to train him to take over the family. Sometimes, intentionally or unintentionally, he would talk to him. However, Lu Jinming was really a useless person. But some of the opinions he proposed last night were refreshing to Lu Siwen. He thought to himself that this guy was a little more enlightened recently. What Lu Zhenming proposed was whether he could have a good relationship with the White Fox hero. After all, he was a rising star of the Righteous Devil Summit in Songning. He was well known in Songning. Moreover, he was a disciple of a big sect with outstanding strength. If he could support him, even if it meant getting close to the Lu family, it would be greatly beneficial for the Lu family to maintain their status as an aristocratic family. After all, the Lu family was now an aristocratic family of the underworld. However, if there were other families like the Sun family that rose and migrated to Songning City, they could completely replace the Lu family. The Lu family wouldn't even have a place to complain. Because only in the cities with the warrior guild would the aristocratic families be recognized by the martial arts circle. Those self-titled aristocratic families in other cities were useless. Without the recognition of the warrior guild, you didn't have convenient resources. You could only be regarded as a local tyrant and couldn't be compared to others. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a problem for the Lu family to call themselves the 10th aristocratic family, but the key was that they couldn't be recognized. Moreover, the most important problem was that there were only 9 aristocratic families in the location of each warrior guild. This was the rule of the upper headquarters, and one more was not allowed. Therefore, even if you had a good relationship with the warrior guild, they couldn't give you more. Previously, the Sun family had been working hard in the direction of an aristocratic family, so they only wanted to replace one. They didn't want to establish it themselves directly. In addition to the martial arts family, the location of the Hong Chamber of Commerce would also select a few business families. Although there was no specific number, the number of each place had been fixed since the beginning, and there was no increase or decrease. When one rose, there must be a fall. This was also for balance. Previously, the Sun family wanted to replace the Xie family and become a business family, but now that the Xie family couldn't be replaced, they turned their attention to the Shao family and wanted to become a martial arts family. During this time, the Sun family had been stirring up trouble. Lu Siwen was afraid that they would come to Songning City. Lu Siwen didn't think that the Sun family would annex the Shao family. After all, the Shao family and the Qing family were united by marriage. Would the Sun family dare to annex them? In his opinion, the Sun family should want to establish themselves. It didn't matter if he didn't pay attention to it, but once he paid attention, he found many unknown secrets. The re-emergence of the Xie family and the retreat of the Sun family were closely related to a person named White Fox. Although there was no evidence that these were all done by White Fox, it was indeed a big reversal after White Fox intervened. According to his investigation, Xie Fei should be White Fox's woman. In addition, the news of White Fox's name in Songning spread. Lu Siwen increasingly felt that White Fox was not simple. This was the rhythm of the family relying on the family to prosper. If the Lu family really relied on the family, he would really have no worries. Chapter 370. Therefore, Lu Siwen agreed with Lu Zhenming's words. Zhenming, are you confident that you can establish a relationship with hero White Fox? I think so, right? Lu Zhenming thought about it. I feel that if I am more attentive and be his underling, he should be able to accept me, right? Lu Zhenming said this without blushing because he didn't think it was shameful. Looking at Jing Xiaoquan's attitude yesterday, he definitely wanted to have a good relationship with hero White Fox. After all, it was an honor to be able to lick the boots of a person who was much higher than you. It was something that others would be envious of. It was not shameful at all. Therefore, Lu Zhenming felt that if he succeeded, it would be worth showing off. Are you sincere or not? Are you taking advantage of him, or do you really want to do so? Lu Siwen understood Lu Zhenming's character. Although Lu Zhenming didn't say what he was doing in school, Lu Siwen had a lot of information channels. He was also asking people to pay attention to whether Lu Zhenming had successfully pursued Qing Menjing. Of course, he didn't have much hope, but he got a lot of news. In school, Lu Zhenming pretended to please Xiao Qian in order to get close to Qing Menjing. Therefore, if Lu Zhenming still had such thoughts, then he should not contact hero White Fox as soon as possible. Hero White Fox was not Xiao Qian. It would only take a second for him to kill Lu Zhenming. Even the Lu family's ancestor didn't know if he could defeat him. But even if he could, he had the backing of a big sect. Would he dare to seek revenge on him? Of course I'm sincere. Lu Zhenming said, if I can be the underling of hero White Fox, how awe-inspiring would that be? The other aristocratic families would probably be envious of me. According to Jing Xiaoquan, he saw from afar that at the end of the summit, Yu Xiaochuan and Qing Mingqiang were respectful and fawning on White Fox. Alright. If you want it, you can give it a try. Our Lu family's resources are at your disposal. Lu Siwen nodded and said. This happened yesterday, so Lu Zhenming was worried about how to get close to the White Fox Swordsman. Zheng Xiaoquan's relationship with the White Fox Swordsman was just SOSO. Zheng Xiaoquan could bring him to the scene, but he might not be able to interact with him. Just as he was worrying about this, an opportunity presented itself today. This was the White Fox Swordsman's girlfriend. Introduce you? Let him come to our house? That's fine, but Master White Fox loves beautiful women. I'm afraid that after he sees Menjing, he'll fall in love with Menjing again. You won't have a chance then. Xin Jingxian was actually insinuating and mocking Xiao Chen. That's fine too. If Great Hero White Fox likes her, then Great Hero White Fox can have priority. I can't possibly snatch boss's woman. Ah. Lu Zhenming was dazed for a second and said. In fact, he pursued Cheng Menjing mostly because of Cheng Menjing's family background. Apart from that, it wasn't like he didn't have any beautiful women. Just like Kerlin from No. 1 middle school, she wasn't any worse than Cheng Menjing. It was just that her family background was much worse. Therefore, if Lu Zhenming could successfully curry favor with the White Fox Swordsman, then it wouldn't matter if Cheng Menjing pursued him or not. It was quite difficult to pursue him. If she couldn't catch up with him, then forget it. The White Fox Swordsman was more important. Cheng Menjing was dazed for a second. She didn't expect the White Fox Swordsman to be so powerful. Even Lu Zhenming gave up? She suddenly felt lucky that he finally gave up. Therefore, she said deliberately, well, I also admire the White Fox Swordsman a little. If Jingshen can share him, I can consider it. Yes. But I still think the cousin-in-law is better. The White Fox Swordsman is too far away. Jean Bebe, however, said, why don't we share the cousin-in-law? Bebe, calm down and eat your noodles. Cheng Menjing said angrily. But I finished it. Jean Bebe said bitterly. Drink the soup after you finish it. Don't waste it. Cheng Menjing said. Eat it all, don't waste it. Cheng Menjing said. Okay. Jean Bebe continued to drink the soup. Xiao Chen felt that something was wrong, but he didn't know what to say. Looking at Lu Zhenming's silly look, he was a little speechless. This guy really doesn't know how lucky he is. He has already become my follower, but he still wants to find the White Fox Swordsman. After dinner, the five of them went out to play. Since he had the idea of befriending the White Fox Swordsman, he didn't want to pursue Cheng Menjing anymore. He had always been a playboy. When had he ever pursued a girl so seriously for such a long time? He had gotten the other girls long ago. Previously, he did it for the Cheng family. Now that he didn't need to do it, he didn't want to waste his energy. He said, Miss Shin, can you ask your boyfriend out so that we can have some fun together? He's very busy and can't come out, Xin Jingshin said. Oh, forget it. I'll go to the summit tonight. Can you help me ask him out alone and introduce him to me? Lu Zhenming said, unwilling to give up. We'll see, Xin Jingshin said. Okay. Thank you, Miss Shin. Lu Zhenming was overjoyed. Jean Bebe drove her nouveau riche car, while Lu Zhenming drove an Audi Q7. Naturally, Cheng Menjing and Xin Jingshin got into Jean Bebe's car. Xiao Chen thought for a while and also got into Jean Bebe's car. Lu Zhenming drove in front to lead the way. By the way, Bebe, didn't you run out of gas on Friday? Do you need to fill it up? Cheng Menjing suddenly thought of it when they passed by the gas station at the entrance of the neighborhood. Oh, I heard that the gas price will be reduced tomorrow, so I filled it up today, Jean Bebe said. Cheng Menjing didn't understand Jean Bebe's thinking. The gas price will be reduced tomorrow, so you filled it up today? What kind of logic was that? You have nowhere to spend your money? Oh, Xiao Lu spent it, Jean Bebe said. Cheng Menjing thought to herself that Lu Zhenming was really unlucky. Yeah. Otherwise, do you think I would have brought him to the villa? Let him wait at the entrance. Jean Bebe said. Lu Zhenming originally wanted to go for an outing today. However, because he had to watch the competition at night and had an important mission which was to get to know Swordsman White Fox, he had to change his schedule. He planned to bring Cheng Menjing and the rest to the amusement park. Anyway, it would be best if he could catch up with Cheng Menjing. If he couldn't, he wouldn't force it. He planned to find a chance to talk to Xiao Chen in detail and see if he had a chance. By the way, cousin-in-law, where have you been these 2 days? I heard that Zhu Yingxiong found a girlfriend. Have you seen her? I heard that she's very scary. Jean Bebe said. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. She's also your cousin-in-law, right? She's quite pretty. How is she scary? Don't listen to other people's nonsense. Oh, all right. I thought she was a fatty like Zhu Yingxiong, Jean Bebe said. Bebe, you and Menjing don't seem to have a good relationship with the Zhu family? Xiao Chen asked doubtfully. Xiaoqun didn't see Zhu Yingxiong at Qing Minjing's birthday party. Of course, it was one reason why he was under house arrest and cultivating in seclusion. However, that wasn't the main reason. The deeper reason seemed to be that the Zhu family, the Qing family, and the Jin family were not very sociable. The Zhu family. In order to develop themselves, they married their daughter to the Qing family and the Jin family. That's my mother and Beibei's mother. Qing Minjing explained. After that, the Zhu family's elder ancestor returned. The Zhu family became powerful and they became a little arrogant. They used to be the Qing family's vassals, but now they have their own opinions and voice. Therefore they have less contact with us. Of course, this is the matter of the big families. It doesn't have much to do with us. However, we didn't have much contact since we were young. On the contrary, Beibei and I hung out more, so we're not familiar with each other. I see. Xiaoqun nodded. He really didn't pay attention to the situation of these families before. He focused on cultivating his internal strength, but it was all in vain in the end. Fortunately, he had the Elder Heaven ancestor so he could cultivate. Their car arrived at the largest temple fair street in Songning City. There were many vendors selling everything from toys, food, and daily necessities. There were also all kinds of entertainment including video games, darts, hoops, shooting games and so on. At the end of the temple fair street was the largest amusement park in the city. However, the car definitely couldn't go there. They parked the car in the parking lot near the temple fair street. After getting off the car, Lu Jinming asked, "Are we going to the temple fair street or the amusement park?" "Beibei, what do you think?" Qing Minjing looked at Jean Beibei. "Of course we're going to the amusement park." Jean Beibei clapped her hands and said, "Your sister Jingxian isn't in a good mood. Let's go to the temple fair street." Qing Minjing didn't want to go to the amusement park. She could see that Xin Jingxian wasn't in a good mood. She definitely wouldn't want to go to the amusement park. It was better to go shopping and relax. "Then why did you ask me?" Jean Beibei was speechless. "Cousin Minjing tricked me. I'm just asking you. If you want to go to the temple fair street, I agree. If you want to go to the amusement park, I object," Qing Minjing said. After confirming the itinerary, Lu Jinming didn't really care. As long as Qing Minjing was willing, it was fine. He smiled and said, "Then let's go to the temple fair street. To be honest, I haven't been here for a long time. Speaking of which, the elders in my family brought me here when I was young. Although the temple fair street was bustling, the children of the big families rarely came here. Firstly, the items here were of low quality. Secondly, they had grown up and didn't find this place interesting anymore. After entering the temple fair street, the dazzling accessories and daily necessities attracted Qing Minjing and Jean Beibei. In the big shopping malls, there definitely weren't so many kinds of things. Although the quality of the items here was obviously not as good as those in the big shopping malls, it was quite refreshing. Jean Beibei stopped asking to go to the amusement park and started shopping together. However, Lu Jinming felt a little bored. If they went to the amusement park, he could go to the exciting amusement park with Qing Minjing. However, in this place he couldn't get a word in the dazzling items at all. He didn't know what they were for either. Therefore he could only follow behind as a bodyguard like Xiaoqun. This way her medical fees and her brother's school fees would be settled. Of course, she could not sell 2 or 3 binoculars every month. Some months there were more and some months there were none. And this month it was the peak season, because the righteous and demonic Songning Summit was being held. Other than the warriors who participated in the challenge, there were many warriors who came to watch the show. They would also wander around the Warriors Guild. This way they would become Lu Shuangshuang's business partners. Lu Shuangshuang had just bought a batch of binoculars and stuck the Hong Chamber of Commerce's logo on it. She did not expect that one of them would be snatched away by someone. If it was an ordinary binocular without a logo, Lu Shuangshuang would have given it to him. After all, the purchase price of 30 yuan wasn't much, not to mention that the person had given her 100 yuan. However, the binoculars with the logo were different. The logo alone was worth 5,000 yuan. Binoculars without the logo were private goods. She could not bring them into the Warriors Guild because there were guards at the entrance of the Warriors Guild. In the Warriors Guild, only items from the Hong Chamber of Commerce could be sold. Other than that, there were no other shops. This was a rule that had been established a long time ago when the Warriors Guild was established. That was why Lu Shuangshuang was anxious. If it was snatched away, wouldn't she be making a huge loss? Moreover, once the logo was stuck on, it could not be taken off. It was fragile with lasers. If it was taken off, it would be damaged. It's not enough. Lu Shuangshuang said, Give it back to me quickly. How much do you want? The man asked impatiently. 10,000 yuan. Lu Shuangshuang said, if not, give it back to me. *CK. The man was furious. He threw the binoculars in his hand on the ground. It broke into pieces and the parts were everywhere. Are you *King scamming me? Little girl, let me tell you, even if you want to scam people, you have to choose a good target. Do you know who I am? You? I don't care who you are. Give me 10,000 yuan. You broke my binoculars. He didn't want to sell it to you. If you think it's expensive, you don't want it, but you can't break it. Lu Shuangshuang was anxious. Did you see that? This little girl is scamming people. She dares to ask me for 10,000 yuan for a broken binoculars? Have you gone crazy thinking about money? The man laughed out loud. The onlookers around also had all kinds of opinions. Some people sided with Lu Shuangshuang and thought that she was right. He didn't want to sell it to you. If you forced him to buy it, then there was nothing wrong with him asking for 10,000 yuan. But some people thought that Lu Shuangshuang was using this opportunity to scam people. How much can this broken binoculars cost? There is a wholesale stall not far away. It's only 30 to 40 yuan. Giving you 100 yuan is already a high price. They only sell it for 50 yuan. Alright, brother Ma, give her another 500 yuan. Let's go. Don't waste time here. Another man beside the arrogant man spoke. Humph, then I will listen to you. The man called Brother Ma took out another 500 yuan from his pocket and threw it in front of Lu Shuangshuang. I will give you another 500 yuan. Is that okay? What okay? You broke my binoculars. Hurry up and give me 10,000 yuan. Otherwise I will call the police. Lu Shuangshuang was anxious. What can 500 yuan do? The cost is 5,030 yuan. *CK, I'm giving you face, aren't I? You think I don't dare to hit a woman? Brother Ma was anxious. You *King want 10,000 yuan for a broken binoculars? Why don't you say that your binoculars are gold-rimmed? Don't be angry. Shuangshuang's binoculars are indeed worth 10,000 yuan. I can testify to this. Kerlin said weakly. She knew Lu Shuangshuang's family situation and knew about her binoculars. So she said, how about, you give her 5,000 yuan for the cost and I won't take your money? You can testify? Brother Ma looked like he heard the funniest joke in the world. You two are in cahoots. What's the use of you testifying? I think you two have gone crazy thinking about money. How about this, you two sleep with me and Brother Chu and I will give you both 10,000 yuan each. You. Don't insult us. Kerlin was a little anxious. We were just talking about the binoculars. Don't say such unpleasant things. If you don't want to listen, then go away. I'm leaving. Brother Ma snorted and reached out to push Kerlin and Lu Shuangshuang away. Chapter 372. Shen Jingxian walked over and said, you guys can't be reasonable. I watched from the side for a while and understood what happened. They didn't want to sell you the telescope but you forced them to buy it. They didn't want it but you insisted on buying it. In the end they had no choice but to sell it. They offered 10,000 yuan but you didn't accept it. You could have just returned the telescope to them and everything would have been fine. But you broke the telescope and that's your fault. It's not good for you to do that. You should compensate them 10,000 yuan. Her personality was like this. She used to be like this in school. Actually, it wasn't that she was a busybody. In fact, she was the kind of person who would reason with others. The incident didn't involve Kerlin, so Xiaoqun didn't plan on doing anything. To be honest, he didn't have a good impression of Lu Shuangshuang. He had been blackmailed before but he had won one. Looking at her sour face, it was as if she had given him some kind of treasure. Xiaoqun thought, why is this girl so stingy? Why is she so distressed over a telescope? Now that he thought about it, she was too much of a money grubber. Of course, Xiaoqun didn't know that the Hong Chamber of Commerce took such a large cut. If he knew, he wouldn't have thought anything was wrong. Now that Kerlin was speaking up for Lu Shuangshuang, Xiaoqun was a little confused. Why was Kerlin playing with a money grubber like Lu Shuangshuang? Just as he was wondering, Shen Jingxian spoke up for her. Ah, big sister Jingxian. Kerlin knew Shen Jingxian. They were in the same school. Seeing Shen Jingxian speak up for her, she was very grateful. What? So what if you have more people? Let me tell you, it's none of your business. Go away and don't hurt yourself. Senior brother Chu, tell them who we are. Don't think that we're easy to bully. Junior brother Ma snorted. We're martial artists. Let me tell you, we don't want to cause trouble. Don't cause trouble for your family when the time comes. Senior brother Chu was starting to get impatient. He coldly snorted and revealed their identities. We're martial artists. Let me tell you this. Although most people did not know about martial artists, in his opinion, these scammers would definitely know about it. If he said it to scare them, they would stop. Since we're on the same path, it'll be even easier. Xin Jingxian frowned slightly. She had always disliked using her identity and reputation as a member of the Shen family to oppress others. However, since this person had revealed his identity as a martial artist, Xin Jingxian could only use her own identity to explain things. Actually, Xin Jingxian preferred to use her own way of expressing herself to make them realize their mistake. I'm from the Shen family of Jianghu. My name is Xin Jingxian. Since we're all martial artists, let's not make a big deal out of this. 10,000 yuan isn't much. You're the one who wanted to buy it, not the other way around, right? The Shen family of Jianghu? Senior brother Chu was slightly taken aback. He hadn't expected to run into someone of the same level here. However, he wasn't afraid. It was just as he'd said, they didn't want to make a big deal out of it. After all, the organizers of the Songning Summit had clearly stated that they weren't allowed to cause trouble in the secular world. They couldn't attack ordinary people at will. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau had already gotten involved, so they couldn't do whatever they wanted in the secular world. Don't use this to pressure us. It's useless. Let me tell you, we're from the Golden Bell sect. We're not afraid of you. No matter what, this telescope is worth 10,000 yuan? So don't meddle in other people's business. If there's nothing else, hurry up and leave. Otherwise, I won't dare hit them, but I can hit you. Since you're from the Jianghu family, you should understand that there are no taboos between us. Junior brother Ma threatened faintly. He could tell at a glance that Xin Jingxian didn't have much strength. This was why he dared to threaten her. Xiaoqin, you still dare to cause trouble? Jingxian is in trouble. Can't you stand up for her? Cheng Menjiang glared at Xiaoqin behind her and said with some dissatisfaction. In fact, she wanted to urge Lu Jinming to make a move. It was just that Xiaoqin couldn't help but smile bitterly. If it was an ordinary person, it wouldn't be a problem to let Lu Jinming go. After all, Lu Jinming's family was the real local tyrant. However, now he was facing two warriors from the Golden Bell sect. They weren't ordinary people. If Lu Jinming went up, it would be suicide. It seemed that Miss didn't understand the situation here. But it was no wonder. The Cheng family was already the most powerful existence in Songning City. They rarely heard about the Jianghu family in sections. Especially for a girl like Cheng Menjiang, she wouldn't often pay attention to it. However, Xiaoqin couldn't expose his strength now. If he could, he would have kicked them to death. How dare they threaten Xin Jingxian? They must be tired of living. However, Miss didn't know much about it, but Lu Jinming did. Lu Jinming had been studying the real martial family and the sects for the past few days. He knew that these sects and the real martial family were very powerful existences, and the White Fox was one of the best among them. In the eyes of these two, he was nothing. Even if they killed him, there would be no way to reason with them. They couldn't attack ordinary people, but the Lu family, which was also an ordinary family, could basically avoid it. Therefore, Lu Jinming was in a bit of a dilemma. Normally he would have rushed up. It would be a good opportunity to show off in front of Cheng Menjiang. However, just because he couldn't attack them didn't mean he couldn't scare them. With a sudden inspiration, Xiaoqin walked over and pointed at Xin Jingxian. What Golden Bell sect and Silver Bell sect? Do you two know who she is? Who is she? Brother Chu was stunned. Isn't she from the Zhen Wuxian family? Who are you? Is this what you're wondering too? You have quite a lot of people here, but it's useless. Kit, which family are you from? Do you want to stand out too? Why don't we have a fight? Junior brother Ma looked coldly at Xiaoqin and threatened. She's a woman from the Zhen Wuxian family, but I'm afraid you don't know about her other powerful identity, right? Xiaoqin snorted coldly. You'll be scared to death if I tell you. What identity? Senior brother Chu and junior brother Ma were stunned. She couldn't be a disciple of some big sect, right? However, her identity was about the same as theirs. Even if Xin Jingxian had two identities, she shouldn't be scared to death, right? She's White Fox Hero's girlfriend. Xiaoqin said proudly. Duh. Senior brother Chu and junior brother Ma trembled when they heard White Fox Hero's name. Who among the martial artists who came to attend the summit didn't know about White Fox Hero? He was a thunderous existence. Moreover, they had seen with their own eyes how White Fox Hero trampled Li Shaning to death and whipped Ling Youxiang to death. They couldn't afford to provoke such a ruthless person. However, junior brother Ma was quick-witted. Although he was shocked, he quickly reacted and felt that something was wrong. You said she's White Fox's girlfriend? Is that true? As far as I know, White Fox is from the demonic star sect. I've never heard of him having a girlfriend. You're all locals, right? Moreover, the Zhenwu family is far from the demonic star sect. How could the two families be related? Why haven't I heard of it? Senior brother Chu finally reacted. Indeed, a marriage alliance between a sect and a family was a big deal. They would definitely announce it to the public. There was no way it would be done in secret. Moreover, White Fox was from the demonic star sect. According to the Demon League's usual style, marriage alliances were usually between a few sects that belonged to the Demon League. Although the Shen family could be considered a part of the Demon League, they weren't pure, so there was no precedent of such a thing happening. Moreover, this Shen Jingxian didn't look like she had much strength. How could she possibly have a marriage alliance with White Fox? That's right. Just because you say so? As senior brother Chu mulled over this, junior brother Ma's words made sense. Don't use these things to scare people. We can forget about today's matter. Alright, forget it then. I'll give the 10,000 yuan to that girl. Shen Jingxian also felt that these two were stubborn. Since they didn't want to listen, she didn't want to continue arguing. Forget it? How could it be so easy? No, unless this little bitch kneels down, apologizes to me, and gives me the binoculars in her bag. Otherwise this isn't over. These two girls can forget about leaving. If they don't give me an explanation, I'll catch them to warm my bed tonight. Junior brother Ma snorted coldly. In his opinion, the other party was just bluffing. If they had the guts, then use them. Who didn't know how to bring people up? What was the point of saying that he knew the presidents of the Warrior Red Society and the Hong Chamber of Commerce? So you're not giving face to White Fox? Xiao Chen's tone turned cold. Catch Kerlin to warm his bed? I haven't even warmed Kerlin's bed yet, and you're warming her first? Shen Jingxian frowned. She hadn't expected these two to be so arrogant. She'd already said forget it, so why couldn't they just give up? It's not that I'm not giving face to White Fox, but who do you think you are? Can you confess on behalf of White Fox? Junior brother Ma didn't dare to speak carelessly. The walls had ears. If White Fox really heard it, wouldn't he be kicked to death by White Fox? White Fox was obviously a very ruthless and violent person. Every time he attacked, he would kill his opponent. If he could avoid provoking this kind of person, he would definitely not provoke him. Xiaoqin, you go and call White Fox. Tell him that I'm in trouble here. Ask him to come over. Shen Jingxian hesitated and said, my phone is out of battery. You go to a public phone to call. Oh, okay. Xiaoqin nodded, turned around and ran. Hey, I have a mobile phone. Cheng Menjing wanted to stop Xiaoqin, but she saw that he had already run far away. She was a little annoyed. Why is this person so stupid? Didn't brother-in-law bring a mobile phone? Jean Bebe said curiously. Who knows? This guy is careless. Who knows what he's doing? Maybe he didn't bring it. Cheng Menjing shook her head. Chapter 373. Ah, you called White Fox? Why didn't you do it in front of me? You even went to a public phone? Are you serious? That's too much of a lie. Junior brother Ma laughed hysterically. Can you stop joking around? I'm seriously wondering if you're from the Shen family of Jianghu. Junior brother Ma, why don't we just let this go? Senior brother Chu felt that something was wrong. Although it was obvious that the other party was a scammer, he still felt uneasy. It was as if he'd overlooked something important. Young lady, give us another pair of binoculars. We'll forget about the 600 yuan from before. Let's just forget about this. What do you think? Shen Jingxian was about to agree when Lu Shuangshuang objected. No, I can't give you another pair of binoculars. You. Senior brother Chu wondered if there was something wrong with this girl's head. She's still not going to compromise at this point? Do you still want to lie to me? What's the value of a pair of binoculars? Why do you have to do this? It won't be good for anyone if things get out of hand. Haha, if she doesn't want to, then I'll just wait here and see who you can find. I said that this isn't over. No one can help you. Senior brother, don't waste your breath on them. Junior brother Ma crossed his arms and sneered. That's fine. If we leave now, people might think that we're unreasonable and afraid of the Shen family of Jianghu. Senior brother Chu nodded. They didn't dare to provoke White Fox, but they couldn't tolerate the Shen family of Jianghu using White Fox's name to pressure them. No one can help you? A cold voice sounded behind senior brother Chu and junior brother Ma. Of course. Gah. Junior brother Ma was about to turn around and say something when he saw the person behind him. He jumped in fright and almost fell to the ground. Xiao Chen was secretly complaining. This goddess really thought highly of him. He didn't wear a mask when he went out today. If he didn't have a backpack, he wouldn't be able to carry it around with him. Fortunately, this was Temple Street. Xiao Chen found a stall that sold masks and bought a similar one to wear on his face. Then he found a chef's uniform and put it on. It looked a little out of place, but he'd make do. White Fox. Senior Brother Chu was also shocked and took 2 steps back. Xiao Chen glanced at Senior Brother Chu and Junior Brother Ma and said coldly, "I know what happened. She didn't want to sell the telescope to you, but you insisted on buying it. Give her $10,000 and apologize to my girlfriend." Senior Brother Chu and Junior Brother's expressions flickered. They were afraid of White Fox, but they also didn't believe. Only 20 minutes had passed, and it would take at least 40 minutes to drive from here to the Zheng family's dojo. How did this White Fox hero get here? White. Therefore, they felt that there must be something wrong here. Are you a White Fox? Junior Brother Ma rolled his eyes and asked tentatively. Hurry up and make your choice. Could it be that you want to challenge me? Asked Xiao Chen coldly. A challenge? As Junior Brother Ma spoke, he carefully sized up Xiao Chen. When he suddenly discovered that Xiao Chen had a price tag on his mask, he was instantly delighted. On the label, the words 20.00 inch were clearly written. The label was brand new, and it was obvious that the mask was newly bought. How could this be the White Fox hero? That was impossible. White Fox's mask had been used for 2 days. Even if it was newly bought, it couldn't possibly be so new. Furthermore, upon closer inspection, the mask still had some rough edges. Logically speaking, these rough edges would fall off after a long time, but this person was obviously wearing a brand new one. Ah. Challenge? Alright, you don't have to pretend. Aren't you that Xiao something who went to make the call just now? You went to buy a fox mask, put it on, and then pretend to be a white fox to trick me, right? Look at the price tag on it. It's 20 yuan. Ah, would a white fox use street goods? Junior Brother Ma pointed at Xiao Chen and suddenly burst into laughter. Who are you trying to fool? I was wondering why you didn't make the call here. You went to a public phone booth to make a call. I guessed that there was something going on. What do you think? I was right, wasn't I? As soon as Junior Brother Ma finished speaking, Shen Jingshuan's phone rang in her bag. Shen Jingshuan's face also turned red. She felt a little awkward and didn't want to answer, but the phone wouldn't stop ringing. She could only take it out and look at the caller ID. It was her little brother. Hey Jingmao, what's wrong? Shen Jingshen lowered her voice. I'm busy here. If there's anything, say it quickly. Ah, sister, Brother White Fox isn't with Yibiya today. He went out. I don't know what he's doing. Do you know? Shen Jingmao was a reliable spy. He would inform Shen Jingshen immediately if there was any news. I got it. Alright, I'll hang up first. Shen Jingshen quickly hung up the phone and put it back in her bag. Keep pretending, will you? You are all liars like them, right? Junior Brother Ma looked at Shen Jingshen coldly. When did the Jianghu Shen family change their profession to be liars? That's really strange. At this time, even Cheng Menjing looked at the White Fox in confusion. Although she didn't pay much attention to Xiao Chen at this moment, the person in front of her seemed to be similar to Xiao Chen. Could it be that Xiao Chen had imitated him? But his voice was different. Thinking of this, Cheng Menjing was a little anxious. She thought that Shen Jingshen wouldn't be so outrageous as to ask Xiao Chen to pretend to be the White Fox. But her phone was clearly charged. Jean Bebe also looked at the swordsman White Fox in front of her with a weird expression. Her eyes finally fell on his shoes. Then she shouted, Swordsman White Fox, beat him to death. If you perform well, Bebe will like you in the future. You want to challenge me? Okay now. Xiao Chen said coldly as he looked at Junior Brother Ma, who was smiling foolishly. There was no lack of people who thought that they were ignorant in this world. For example, the person in front of him clearly had a peaceful solution, but he didn't choose it. Instead, he wanted to challenge him. Therefore, Xiao Chen had to fulfill his wish. Yes now. Come on, hit me. Junior Brother Ma looked at Xiao Chen mockingly. Oh, as you wish. As soon as Xiao Chen finished speaking, his hand shot out like lightning, slapping Junior Brother Ma's face. With a peng sound, Junior Brother Ma was sent flying and landed heavily on the ground. He twitched a few times and spat out a mouthful of blood. Although Xiao Chen showed mercy and didn't kill him, it was clear that he had suffered severe internal injuries. Level 8 inner strength. Senior Brother Chu. Run. He's the White Fox. After saying this, Junior Brother Ma fainted directly. Where could Senior Brother Chu run to? Junior brother Ma could tell that the person in front of him was the white fox, so how could senior brother Chu not? Senior brother Chu wanted to cry. It didn't matter where senior brother Chu bought the mask or whether it was from a street stall. He really was the white fox hero. Senior brother Chu was only a level 6 inner strength martial artist. Why the hell would he run? Even if he ran, he would still be slapped back. He was so scared that he knelt on the ground. He knew how ruthless the white fox was. If he was beaten to death, then he would die in vain. Who told you to challenge him? If you were beaten to death, then the organizers of the Righteous and Demonic Summit wouldn't say anything. You can only blame your bad luck. I'm sorry, white fox hero. We were blind. We didn't know that she was your girlfriend. Senior brother Chu suddenly understood. Shinjingxian? She said her name was Shinjingxian? That's right. The disciple from the Jianghu Xin family who was knocked off the stage by Li Shaning yesterday was called Shinjingmao. Moreover, it was indeed the white fox hero who caught him and beat Li Shaning to death to avenge Shinjingmao. Wasn't it obvious that the white fox hero was related to the Jianghu Xin family? Why would the white fox hero stand up for Shinjingmao? How stupid. Why hadn't I thought of this before? Looking at junior brother Ma's appearance, it was obvious that he had suffered a very serious internal injury. It was estimated that he would have to admit defeat in this summit challenge. If I'd thought of this relationship earlier, I wouldn't have allowed junior brother Ma to act so arrogantly in front of the white fox hero. Now, not only had he failed to act cool, but he'd also been beaten to a pulp. Senior brother Chu didn't even know if he could escape this calamity. I said, I'll give her 10,000 yuan and apologize to my girlfriend. Then I'll let this matter go. Xiaoqin didn't intend to continue beating senior brother Chu. After all, there was no point in beating him up. It was more important to resolve this matter. He'd already established his dominance, so it would be unreasonable if he crippled senior brother Chu as well. However, the two of you challenged me. One of you is lying on the ground, and the other is kneeling on the ground and admitting defeat. You can talk to the summit yourselves about this. All right. I'll talk to them. We lost, so we'll definitely pay up. Senior brother Chu's heart was bleeding. If the two of them returned to the Golden Bell sect, they'd definitely be reprimanded. Originally, the elders of the sect had hoped that the two of them would make a name for themselves at the summit. Who would have thought that they'd be beaten so badly before they even had a chance to fight? Oh, then hurry up and don't waste time. Xiaoqin said. Yes, here's 10,000 yuan. No, 20,000 yuan as compensation for the binoculars. Senior brother Chu hurriedly took out 2 stacks of cash from his bag and handed them to Lu Shuangshuang. Lu Shuangshuang was dumbfounded, especially when she heard junior brother Ma say that he'd reached stage 8 inner force before he died. Was this person in front of her an inner force stage 8 expert? Was it true? Lu Shuangshuang hung around the warrior guild every day, so she knew what an inner force stage 8 meant. Even a stage 4 inner force cultivator was respected by many people there. An inner force stage 4 inner force cultivator was a top-notch existence, let alone an inner force stage 8 inner force cultivator. Strong, too strong. Lu Shuangshuang's mind began to race. If she could form a good relationship with this person, wouldn't she have a backer in the future? But, would he even care about her? Chapter 374. Alright, take it. Xiaoqin took the money and handed it to Lu Shuangshuang. Ah, thank you. Lu Shuangshuang quickly said, but 10,000 is enough. Although she was greedy for money, she knew that this money was given to Hero White Fox. It wasn't right for her to take it all. You're welcome. I'm returning the 10,000 to you, Xiaoqin said faintly. I took your telescope for free last time. This time I'm returning it to you. Lu Shuangshuang immediately remembered who the person in front of her was. No wonder she felt that this mask looked familiar. Wasn't this the person who won her binoculars for free at the Warrior Guild? She couldn't help but exclaim, "It's you." That's right, it's me. Xiaoqin smiled. Take your friend and leave this place. Also, your telescope is too expensive. You don't understand. It's not that I want it to be so expensive. Next time you go to the Warrior Guild, I'll tell you in detail. Lu Shuangshuang originally wanted to find someone to rely on. If Hero White Fox had a friendly conversation with her in the Warrior Guild, people would definitely think that she was related to Hero White Fox and wouldn't dare to bully her anymore. Her idea was quite simple. She just wanted to use the tiger's skin as a shield. All right. Let's talk about it when we have time. Xiaoqin nodded. Kerlin was a little afraid of Xiaoqin. She knew that this person in the fox mask was Xiaoqin, And he actually killed someone again. How terrifying. Lin, who had slightly let down her guard against Xiao Chen, began to feel afraid again. I must pretend that I don't know him. Otherwise, will he kill me to keep my mouth shut? I'm sorry, Heroine Shin. I apologize on behalf of my junior brother. Senior brother Chu walked in front of Shin Jingxian and apologized. Forget it, it's nothing. Don't be so overbearing in the future. It's not right. You can't take advantage of your power to bully others. Shin Jingxian said. The corner of senior brother Chu's mouth twitched. But when he thought about it carefully, he realized that White Fox hadn't really been a bully. She'd given him a chance, but junior brother Ma didn't believe her. He hurriedly walked over and helped junior brother Ma to his feet. Junior brother Ma had also woken up, but he couldn't speak. He glanced fearfully at Xiao Qin, then quickly left with senior brother Chu. The onlookers originally thought that someone had died, but they found out that the person was not dead and could still walk, so they stopped watching and left one after another. On the other hand, Lin Ke heaved a sigh of relief. Luckily he didn't kill anyone this time. Otherwise, under the watchful eyes of the public, the police would definitely arrest him. Lu Shuangshuang wanted to say a few more words, but Ke Lin dragged her away. After a few steps, Lu Shuangshuang said, "What are you doing, Ke? I still want to talk to Hero White Fox. If he can support me in the warrior guild, my business will be much easier in the future. Hey, listen to me. Don't get in touch with him. He's not a good person." Ke Lin said anxiously. What if Xiao Qin fell for Lu Shuangshuang and forced himself on her? She couldn't bring harm to her good friend. In any case, in Ke Lin's mind, Xiao Qin was not a good person. Ke Lin thought that he was with Tang Tang, but she didn't expect him to be with Shin Jingxian under another identity. Shin Jingxian was the same. She pretended to be a goddess on the surface, but she was secretly with Xiao Qin behind Cheng Menjiang's back. How can the children of the big families be so filthy? Ke Lin thought. She really felt sorry for Tang Tang. She knew that Xiao Qin liked Shin Jingxian, but she never thought that Shin Jingxian would really be with Xiao Qin. However, this had little to do with her. She just needed to keep an eye on Lu Shuangshuang and not let her go astray. How can he not be a good person? Lu Shuangshuang thought that although she used to think that Xiao Qin was very hateful and cheated her binoculars, but after this incident her impression of him had changed greatly. She felt that he was a righteous person and very easy to talk to. She felt a little strange. Why was Ke Lin so prejudiced against him? Obviously Master White Fox came to stand up for them. How could she say that he was not good? Ke Lin was not such an ungrateful person. Oh, don't ask. Anyway, he is not very good. I'm afraid. Ke Lin didn't continue. She suddenly realized that she had said too much. What are you afraid of? Are you hiding something from me? Lu Shuangshuang and Ke Lin grew up together. She knew her character very well. She knew that Ke Lin would not hate a person for no reason. Even in their slums, there was a lazy Chinlatzi who always went to other people's houses to borrow money and things. Lin Ke would occasionally help him, but it wasn't to the extent of speaking ill of him. Oh. What can happen to me? Ke Lin was a little incoherent. There must be something. Tell me, did you know about White Fox before? Lu Shuangshuang's eyes turned as if she thought of something. I know. You must like White Fox, right? You are afraid that I will get in touch with him and then I will steal your man, right? Haha, look at your red face. I guessed it right? Ke Lin blushed because she lied. How was it because she liked Xiao Qin? Although she once told Xiao Qin that Xiao Qin could pursue her if he studied hard. Now that she thought about it, it was so ridiculous. Those who were with Xiao Qin were all goddess-like existences like Shin Jingxian. I'm afraid he just wants to play around, right? Now, I'm afraid he doesn't even have the interest to play, right? Although Ke Lin was grateful to Xiao Qin and felt that he had helped her and her family a lot, and now he helped Lu Shuangshuang, to be honest, Ke Lin was really afraid of Xiao Qin. She didn't understand Xiao Qin's world. She couldn't imagine the level of a martial artist. She just wanted to live an ordinary life. Those fighting and killing things were too scary. Ke Lin couldn't imagine how worried she would be if she became Xiao Qin's woman. Would she be scared to death? Therefore she was very afraid to have too much interaction with Xiao Qin. She was really afraid. She was an ordinary girl who just wanted to live an ordinary life. Therefore she was very worried that Lu Shuangshuang would have some interaction with Xiao Qin. She knew that Lu Shuangshuang was sometimes very utilitarian. Although she was clean, if Xiao Qin had any ideas, it would be difficult for Lu Shuangshuang to resist. Then their future would be really hard to predict. Therefore Ke Lin didn't want her good friend to fall into it. I like him, okay? Kerlin thought that if she admitted it, then Lu Shuangshuang would definitely not have that kind of idea anymore. After all, she was her good friend. Why would she steal her man? Oh. Lu Shuangshuang was a little surprised. She didn't expect that she guessed it right. It was hard for her to imagine that Kerlin, who had been studying hard, actually had a crush on him. Really? You two know each other? And when I was kidnapped by Red Hair, he was actually the one who saved me. I didn't tell you the truth at that time? Kerlin began to make up a story and told her what happened at that time. So it was the hero saving the beauty. Lu Shuangshuang smiled faintly. But he already has a girlfriend. You want to be a mistress? Anyway, the martial artists don't care about these things. Kerlin's goal was to make Lu Shuangshuang give up, so she began to talk nonsense. She didn't hesitate to sully herself by saying that she wanted to be a mistress. So, Shuangshuang, you won't fight with me, right? I didn't even think about this. You like him, but I don't. I just want him to support me so that my business in the warrior guild will be better. Lu Shuangshuang said. Phew, that's good. Kerlin let out a sigh of relief. No matter what, she had said so much. As long as Lu Shuangshuang gave up her interest in Xiaoqin, it would be fine. But I have to advise you. Don't think about being a mistress. Look at White Fox. He looks impressive, but his girlfriend is from the martial arts family. Do you understand the martial arts family? It's a level higher than those aristocratic families in Songning. If you were to become a mistress, wouldn't the main wife make you suffer every day? You have to think this through. When the time comes, you'll be alone and weak. You'll be bullied. Lu Shuangshuang turned around to advise Lin Kuo. Okay. I was just thinking about it. Let's not talk about this. Hurry up and finish shopping. I will go back home to sell noodles. You are going to the warrior guild to sell binoculars, right? Kerlin didn't want to talk about this topic anymore. Okay. Lu Shuangshuang nodded. She was quite happy. More than 10,000 yuan of profit came into her account today. It was really good. Kerlin and Lu Shuangshuang left. Junior brother Ma and senior brother Chu also left. Naturally, Xiaoqin also had to leave. He said to Jingxian, Jingxian, I have something to do. I have to go now. Call me if you need anything. After saying that, Xiaoqin made a gesture to make a phone call. Then he pretended to leave. Okay, you can go now. Jingxuan's expression suddenly became cold again. Xiaoqin sighed. It seemed that Goddess Shen was still angry. However, he couldn't persuade her here. If he stayed here for too long, he would be exposed. Therefore, he turned around and left directly. Cousin-in-law. Jin Beibei suddenly shouted. Xiaoqin was immediately startled, but he still turned his head around very slowly and looked in Jin Beibei's direction in confusion. Where is cousin-in-law? Why isn't he back yet? Jin Beibei asked Cheng Minjing with a smile. Who knows where he is? He must have been electrocuted while making a phone call. Cheng Minjing was also a little puzzled. What is this guy doing? Why hasn't he come back for so long? Is it because he is afraid to come back because there are warriors here? However, Xiaoqin doesn't seem to be that kind of weak person. It's so strange. Xiaoqin sweated heavily. He left quickly and found a place where nobody was around. After taking off all his clothes, he walked back quickly. Chapter 375. Ah, cousin-in-law, you're back. Jin Beibei said. What do you mean by back? Xiaoqin was dazed. I went to make a call just now and then I came back. Jin Beibei said, right? Why were you gone for so long? Cousin Minjing said that you were electrocuted by the phone. Oh, I drank too much water because I was in a hurry. I searched for a toilet for a long time. Right. Is Swordsman White Fox here? Xiaoqin scratched his head. He thought that Jin Beibei had noticed something, but it seemed that he had been overthinking. Don't you know whether or not Swordsman White Fox is here, cousin-in-law? Jin Beibei asked. How would I know? Xiaoqin was shocked again. He kept feeling that Jin Beibei seemed to be implying something. Did this cunning girl really see through him? Wasn't it you who called, cousin-in-law? Why don't you know? Jin Beibei asked in confusion. Beibei, what nonsense are you talking about? Cheng Minjing interrupted her. Alright Xiaoqin, you're back. Let's go. Don't stand here. Somebody is bound to be pointing at us. Alright. Xiaoqin nodded. He found Lu Jinming, who was somewhat dumbfounded, and asked, Little Lu, what's wrong with you? Lu Jinming slapped his head in regret. He cried, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. It was the best opportunity to meet Swordsman White Fox and I missed it. I was so shocked just now that I didn't realize what was going on. Gosh, I'm screwed. I'm so unlucky. I didn't even know how to take advantage of such a good opportunity. If I had gone up to meet him, I would have definitely remembered him. Xiaoqun was immediately lost for words. I have his number. Should I ask him to come back so that you can meet him? I don't dare to do that. If he heard that I had nothing to do, he would beat me to death. I don't want to become that junior brother Ma. It's too miserable. Lu Zhiming sighed. Shen Jingxian took a look at Jin Beibei, only to find that Jin Beibei was grinning at her. Somehow Shen Jingshuan's heart tightened. She also felt that Jin Beibei seemed to be suspicious of something, but it was impossible. Xiaoqun had disguised himself very well. His voice and clothes were all different. How could Jin Beibei see through him? Illusion, it must be an illusion. Shen Jingxian thought. Beibei, help me take a look. Does this look good? While Cheng Menjing was looking at a hairpin, Shen Jingxian took Jin Beibei to another stall and picked up a hat. Yes. Jin Beibei nodded. Then why were you laughing just now? Shen Jingxian asked. Huh? What did I laugh at? Beibei didn't laugh. Jin Beibei looked at Shen Jingxian strangely. Just now you were grinning at me, Shen Jingxian said. Oh, just now. I forgot. Jin Beibei scratched her head. Right, Sister Jingxian, my brother-in-law is so handsome. Introduce him to me when you have time. I like such a domineering man the most. Huh? You mean White Fox? Shen Jingxian didn't think much of the first half of Jin Beibei's sentence. Since Jin Beibei had forgotten it, it must not be something important. However, when she heard the second half of Jin Beibei's sentence, she became a bit nervous. It's not a problem to introduce you, but what do you want to do? Nothing. I just want to ask him if he wants a concubine or not. Sister Jingxian, you are so generous. You won't mind, will you? Jin Beibei asked. Of course not. Beibei, are you kidding me? Shen Jingxian said with a weird expression and forced a smile. Oh, I'm just joking. Jin Beibei said, I'm quite envious of Sister Jingxian. Alas, Sister Minjing has made no progress with cousin-in-law at all. I'm so anxious. If only I could be as fast as Sister Jingxian. Oh? Yes. Shen Jingxian was quite nervous. She had no idea what Jin Beibei meant, but judging from her expression she didn't know that Xiaoqun was White Fox, did she? Otherwise she would have asked her directly, wouldn't she? So boring. I was thinking of establishing a cousin-in-law association or something and asking Sister Jingxian to join it. You and Cousin Minjing are best friends and Cousin Jingxian and I are good sisters. If the three of us marry cousin-in-law, we will be able to hang out with each other all the time. But you are on your own now. It's not a good idea. Jin Beibei said somewhat regretfully, why don't I persuade Cousin Minjing to marry a White Fox? Beibei, your joke is not very funny. Shen Jingxian looked a bit nervous. It's not a joke. After all, marrying cousin-in-law or White Fox is the same, isn't it? Jin Beibei blinked her eyes. How can it be the same? Shen Jingshuan's heart almost jumped out of her chest. She was almost scared to death by Jin Beibei. Whether we marry cousin-in-law or White Fox, the three of us will marry him together. Isn't it more or less the same? Jin Beibei said. It's more or less the same. How can it be the same? Shen Jingxian was relieved. Jin Beibei's words did not convey what she meant. She was almost scared to death. I was just joking. But it seems that I can only follow cousin-in-law. My grandpa likes cousin-in-law. Jin Beibei said somewhat regretfully. Is that so? Shen Jingxian was somewhat annoyed. Xiaoqun and Jin Beibei were indeed having an affair. Otherwise, why would golden-haired Lion King like Xiaoqun? However, she still pretended to say, then, let's not ruin your relationship with Menjing. Just let Menjing do it first. That's true. I'm not like Sister Jingxian who enjoys all the benefits first. Jin Beibei nodded. I didn't. Shen Jingshuan's heart almost exploded again. You did. It was Chen Jinkuan and Chen Jinpeng before. Now it's White Fox. Jin Beibei said. That's the arrangement of the family. I can't do anything about it. Shen Jingxian did not want to talk to Jin Beibei anymore. She could not accept the way the girl talked. She was easily scared. Or was it because she had a guilty conscience? Hey, what are you two whispering about? Cheng Menjing turned around and found that Jin Beibei and Shen Jingxian were talking about something. Therefore she walked over and asked. Nothing. I'm just a little sorry that Sister Jingxian can't share our cousin-in-law with us. Jin Beibei said with a smile. Share our cousin-in-law? Xiaoqun? Who wants to share him? If you like him you can take him. Cheng Minjing said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Oh, really? Jin Beibei turned around and looked at Xin Jingxian. Sister Jingxian, are you happy? Why should I be happy? Xin Jingxian looked at Jin Beibei in confusion. Nothing. I think you should be happy because I'm quite happy, Jin Beibei said. Beibei, what nonsense are you talking about today? Stop it. I'm a little hungry. Let's go eat something. Cheng Minjing did not want to talk about Xiaoqin anymore. Ever since she came back from the family banquet with Xiaoqin, Cheng Minjing had been avoiding this topic. She did not know where she should go in the future. Because of the marriage between Xiao Xiao and Cheng Mingqiang, there was an inexplicable barrier between her and Xiaoqin. They came to a restaurant on Miaohui Street. It was a place called South County Snacks. Although it was called Snacks, the decoration was quite luxurious. It was one of the best fast food restaurants on this street. There were so many people in the restaurant that there were no more seats on the first floor. They went to the second floor and found a place to sit down. Xiaoqin, go and buy something. Cheng Minjing looked at the long line in front of the counter downstairs and did not want to go down to line. Therefore she told Xiaoqin. Okay. Although Xiaoqin was powerful now, he had always carried out his mistress's orders firmly. After all, after knowing her nature, Xiaoqin increasingly felt that he owed her in the past. She was a kind person. Now that he was with Xin Jingxian behind her back, Xiaoqin felt that he was not qualified to be her fiancé. Therefore he gave in to her all the time. As long as her request was not too excessive, Xiaoqin would satisfy it. Moreover, Cheng Minjing was just being tough on the outside but soft-hearted on the inside. Although she would arrogantly order Xiaoqin to do this and that every time, she was actually very concerned about him. Do you have money? Cheng Minjing suddenly remembered that Xiaoqin did not go to the morning market to set up his stall recently. She had not paid him and he often had to buy medicine to recuperate. Therefore she took out a few hundred yuan from her wallet and gave it to Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin did not refuse. He took the money and went downstairs. While Cheng Minjing and the others were talking, there were a few men sitting in a corner of the restaurant on the second floor. They were dressed similar to senior brother Chu and junior brother Ma. Those who knew their trade could tell that they were martial artists at a glance. Of course, in the eyes of ordinary people, these people at most wore retro clothes. Nowadays, retro clothes were also popular, so no one thought that there was anything wrong with them dressing like this. Senior brother Qiao, that person over there seems to be Cheng Minjing? Among these people, a man dressed in a white robe said to the person sitting in the middle, who was obviously the leader. Qiao En's eyes narrowed slightly. He had come to Songning City this time to investigate the cause of Li Shan-Ying's death. He was now a deacon of the Law Enforcement Hall of the Warrior Guild headquarters and had considerable authority. If it were not for the fact that the colorful Li family had a vice president of the Warrior Guild headquarters, the Law Enforcement Hall would not have accepted this task. After all, being killed at the Righteous and Demonic Summit could only mean that one's strength was not enough. If you wanted to take revenge, it was your own matter in the future. It had nothing to do with the Warrior Guild. Moreover, it would not involve the Law Enforcement Hall. However, this order was personally given by Vice President Li, so Qiao En's could only come in person. Originally, he was a little reluctant and did not immediately start the investigation after he arrived. Instead, he planned to go sightseeing for a few days and investigate after the summit was over. He did not expect to meet the woman he had once pursued here. Chapter 376. Qiao En's father used to be the president of the Songning Warrior Guild. He also went to school with his father in Songning for a few years. At that time he was also studying in Songning No. 1 Middle School, and Cheng Minjing was his junior. At that time he pursued Cheng Minjing, and the Qiao family hinted at the Cheng family to propose marriage, but it was rejected. Although his father was the president of the Songning Warrior Guild, Cheng Minjing had an engagement. At that time the Xiao family had not yet declined. Naturally, the Cheng family would not agree to the Qiao family's marriage proposal. However, because of this matter, Qiao En's had always been brooding. Although with the improvement of his strength and status, Qiao En's had played with many women over the years, he was still brooding about Cheng Minjing, his first love. At this time, when he heard his men say that it was Cheng Minjing, he was suddenly shocked. Xiaojin, did you see it clearly? Is it really Cheng Minjing? Qiao En's only saw a back view, not the front. It must be. We have been in school together for so many years. I was in her class at the beginning. The man named Xiaojin said. His real name was Yu Jin, and he was one of Qiao En's men. Both of them left Songning together. This kid's father was also a vice president of the warrior guild. Later, he followed Xiao En's father to the headquarters. Currently he was also a small leader. Now he was living under Xiao En's. Who are those two men? Xiao En's looked at Xiao Chen and Lu Jinming leaving together, so he asked. There were 3 women opposite. He didn't know which of the 2 men were the suitors or boyfriends of 2 of them. He didn't know if they had any relationship with Cheng Menjing. The one who left with the money seems to be Xiao Chen, Cheng Menjing's fiancé. Zhu Jin said, it should be him. Xiao Chen? Didn't I hear that he and Cheng Menjing broke off their engagement? Why did it appear again? All these years, Xiao En's had been paying attention to the news of Cheng Menjing. She was a person that he could not forget. What he could not get was always the best. However, at that time, Xiao En's identity was similar to Cheng Menjing's, and their family backgrounds were similar. One was the head of the Songning aristocratic family, and the other was the president of the Songning Martial Artists Guild. But now, Xiao En's status was much higher than Cheng Menjing's. He had a condescending feeling. Who knows? I heard that Xiao Chen was kicked out of the family. Zhu Jin said, Senior brother Xiao, didn't you see him asking Cheng Menjing for money when he was shopping? I guess he's a poor loser now? Really? Let's go and greet them. Xiao En's eyes flashed with disdain. If it was in the past, he probably wouldn't dare to openly snatch Xiao Chen's girlfriend. But now he wasn't afraid of anything. Do you need us to go over and help? Zhu Jin asked, go downstairs and create some trouble for Xiao Chen? Yes, we can make him look bad. Damn, he dares to snatch senior brother Qiao's woman. He must be tired of living. Another man with a protruding mouth and monkey-like cheeks shouted. As the disciples of the Martial Artists Guild's law enforcement hall, they were usually arrogant and used to be arrogant. Usually they were responsible for investigating those evil martial artists and assisting the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to arrest them. So they had more power. Moreover, they also had the power to investigate. To put it bluntly, it was a small Supernatural Investigation Bureau, under the dual leadership of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and the Martial Artists Guild. This agency was not like the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, which often handled some high-end tasks. They were responsible for relatively easy and relatively low-level investigations. So, Xiao En's currently felt that he was very powerful. In Songning City, no one dared to go against him. Even the president of the Martial Artists Guild, Chu Jingbian, had to be respectful when he saw him. Moreover, this guy was promoted after his father left, so he could be considered as one of his father's people. Xiao En's thought for a while and waved his hand. He then stood up and walked towards Cheng Menjing. Later on, you guys act according to the situation, but don't be too deliberate. Don't let others see through you. Wait for Xiao Chen to come back, then you guys go over. For now, I can go over by myself. Don't worry, boss. Don't you know our level of underhanded methods? Zhu Jin smiled. Menjing? Xiao En's walked over and first called out tentatively. He didn't know if this person was Cheng Menjing. Cheng Menjing heard someone calling her. She was slightly stunned. She turned around and saw Xiao En's. However, she didn't know him, so she was a little confused. Are you calling me? Menjing, it's really you? We haven't seen each other for a long time. Don't you recognize me? I'm Xiao En's. Have you forgotten? Our 2 families used to eat together. Xiao En smiled and told Cheng Menjing about the past. His face was full of memories and excitement. It's you, brother Qiao. Cheng Menjing finally remembered who the person in front of her was. At that time, the Qiao family and the Qing family were very close. As for Xiao En's, the young Cheng Menjing still had some admiration for him. He was handsome and powerful. At a young age, he had the strength of stage 3 inner force. At that time, Cheng Menjing had a very good impression of him. At that time, she even wondered why the family didn't agree to the marriage with the Qiao family but the Xiao family. Anyway, she was going to marry someone. It was better to marry someone more pleasing to the eye. At that time, Xiao En's was indeed more pleasing to the eye than Xiao Chen. However, when she saw Xiao En's again, those feelings in her heart had already faded. After interacting with Xiao Chen for a long time, she found that Xiao Chen was a good person. It was just that she seemed to have misunderstood him in the past. But now, it seemed that in addition to his lack of strength, he was excellent in other aspects. Moreover, Cheng Menjing was no longer a little girl. Her admiration for strength was not so strong. If she really admired strength, it was better to pursue the white fox. Wasn't the white fox more powerful? It seems that Menjing still remembers me. It really makes me happy. Xiao En suddenly laughed and said, Menjing, how are you now? I'm fine. Cheng Menjing said, what about you? Where are you now? Me. I'm just hanging around in the headquarters of the Warrior Guild as a minor leader of the Law Enforcement Hall. I just came back yesterday to investigate a case. I didn't expect to run into you here. I was thinking of paying you a formal visit after I'm done with my official business, Uncle Cheng. Xiao En's directly sat on the seat opposite of Cheng Menjing that originally belonged to Xiao Chen. He turned around to look at Xinjing Shen and Jin Beibei and said, Xinjing Shen Jin Beibei. Am I right? Yes, but there's nothing to brag about. As long as you're not a retard you can remember. Jin Beibei said, also your seat is taken. Beibei, you're still such a joker. Xiao En's was dazed for a moment, but he did not mind that Jin Beibei's seat was taken. Then he regained his smile and said, are you here to visit the Temple Street or the amusement park today? Oh, we're here to see an idiot, Jin Beibei said. Idiot? Xiao En's face slightly changed. Was Jin Beibei insulting him? He did not dare to do anything to Jin Beibei before, but now he no longer cared about the Jin family because of his identity and status. Therefore he did not care about it at all. His face immediately turned gloomy. Jin Beibei, what did you say? Nothing. We ran into two idiots on the Temple Street just now. If you don't believe me you can ask cousin Menjing. Why do you want to know everything? Gossipy. Jin Beibei said. Yes. There were two people who wanted to force me to buy something. Nothing. Cheng Menjing nodded. Oh. They are indeed idiots. Xiao En's did not think too much about it when he heard that it was not him. He said, somewhat fascinated, years ago Menjing we often had meals together. Let me treat you today. It's fate that we met again. That's unnecessary. I've already asked someone to buy the food, Cheng Menjing said. Oh, forget it. I'll treat you alone next time. This fast food is not that good anyway. Xiao En's looked at Cheng Menjing and smiled faintly. His eyes were filled with the joy of reuniting after a long time. Okay. Let's talk about it when we have time. Cheng Menjing and Xiao En's were not very familiar now. They were familiar before, but it did not mean that they were familiar now. She did not want the Cheng family to misunderstand her every move. If Xiao En's came to the Cheng family to propose marriage, her grandfather would definitely agree to it. However, she did not know why she used to want to break off the engagement with Xiao Chen so that she could marry a man like Xiao En's. But now that she had broken off the engagement with Xiao Chen, she no longer had that thought. Dad and Uncle Xiao have said it to me. I have to listen to them. They definitely want me to marry Xiao Chen, so I'd better have less contact with Xiao En's. Otherwise, once Cheng Menjing released the signal that she was close to Xiao En's, it would not be good if the Cheng family misunderstood it. Okay. I just want to visit Uncle Cheng and Grandpa Cheng. I'll ask you to come with me. Xiao En smiled indifferently and said. He thought that Cheng Menjing was reserved. While they were talking, Xiao Chen and Lu Jinming came back from downstairs with plates of food. This fast food restaurant sold set meals. Xiao Chen randomly ordered a few kinds and brought them back. Anyway, with primordial qi they would be delicious. Suddenly, Zhu Jin and Monkey Chin made a move. The two of them, one on the left and the other on the right, collided with Xiao Chen and Lu Jinming. Obviously, they wanted to knock down the set meal in Xiao Chen's hand. Then Xiao En's could smoothly invite Cheng Menjing to eat. After all, it could be considered an apology. Bang! Zhu Jin and Xiao Chen collided violently. In fact, Xiao Chen saw Zhu Jin coming over with bad intentions before, but he did not care. Especially when he saw the person next to Cheng Menjing, he knew that this person was coming for him. Moreover, he looked a little familiar. He must be an acquaintance from the past. After thinking about it for a while, he had an impression. The person sitting was called Xiao En's, and the person who collided was called Zhu Jin. Chapter 377. Zhu Jin and he were in the same class and Xiao En's was in the senior grade. Xiao En's had pursued the young lady before. The meal in Xiao Chen's hands was not badly hurt. Xiao Chen steadied his hands and the 3 meals in his hands were not spilled at all. After all, Xiao Chen was a cultivator, and his strength was much higher than the intruder's. The intruder was still too young to play such a trick on him. However, it was not so easy for Lu Jinming. The 2 meals in Lu Jinming's hands were directly knocked away. Zhu Jin and Monkey Chin's plan was that if Xiao En's and Cheng Menjing bumped into each other, they would not be able to go with them even if they wanted to apologize. Then Xiao En's would be able to have dinner with Cheng Menjing alone. However, as expected, The two set meals in Lu Zhenming's hands did not buckle onto Lu Zhenming's body. Instead, they suddenly flew out diagonally. With two ping sounds, the two set meals, along with the soup and drinks, were all buckled onto Qiao En's head. F***CK. Oh, who did this? Qiao En's was infuriated. He suddenly stood up and glared at Lu Zhenming and Xiao Chen. He was chatting with Cheng Menjing when an unexpected disaster fell on his head. How could he bear it? He pointed at Lu Zhenming and said, "Do you want to die? Who are you? Are you out of your mind? They bumped into me. Go and find them." Lu Zhenming pointed at Zhu Jin and Monkey Chin and said, "Luckily I dodged in time. Otherwise I would have buckled your head too. I don't know who these two bastards are messing around with. They must be trying to blackmail you. You've already been beaten up like this. This is intolerable. If it were me, I would have beaten them to death. Unless they're not men." Xiao Chen looked at Qiao En's with righteous indignation. Yes, Brother Qiao, this is absolutely intolerable." Jin Beibei chimed in. The two of them must have planned to frame Brother Qiao. Otherwise, why would they bump into someone when this place is so spacious? You. Qiao En's was rendered speechless by Xiao Chen and Jin Beibei. Yes, this was done by Zhu Jin and Monkey Cheek. The main responsibility was definitely on them. However, these two were his subordinates. How could he beat them up? Qiao En's knew that this was definitely a mistake. His subordinates wouldn't harm him. It could only be that he was unlucky. His expression was gloomy and he didn't know what to say. "Senior Brother Qiao, I'm sorry. I was in a hurry to help them. I didn't expect that I would be so flustered." Monkey Chin said apologetically. "Yeah, let me help you." Zhu Jin quickly said to Xiao Chen. "Okay, take one." Xiao Chen nodded and said, "It just so happens that I can't hold three." Zhu Jin found a way out of the embarrassing situation. He breathed a sigh of relief and took a plate from Xiao Chen. However, as soon as he took the plate, he suddenly felt that the plate seemed to move and fly up directly. With a bang, it was buckled on Qiao En's head again. F***CK. Qiao En's was really angry this time. "Zhu Jin, what do you want to do?" "I didn't want to do anything. Right, it's him. It must be him. He did it. He buckled it. He must be up to no good by holding it for me." Zhu Jin suddenly thought of something. He pointed at Xiao Chen and roared, "Is there something wrong with you?" Xiao Chen held a plate in one hand. "What kind of skill do I have? I hold one in each hand and then I can buckle the other one out. Do you have this skill?" Qiao En's originally thought that Xiao Chen might have done it on purpose, but after listening to his explanation carefully, he suddenly felt that it was right. He was holding a plate in one hand. How could he buckle the other plate out? At least one more plate must be buckled in his hand. Because the third plate was on top of the other two plates in his hand, it was completely unrealistic. Zhu Jin thought about it, and it was indeed unrealistic, but he really didn't buckle it. At this moment he could only say, "I'm sorry, Senior Brother Qiao. My hand slipped." Humph. Qiao En snorted coldly and then said to Cheng Menjing with some embarrassment, "I'm sorry, Menjing. My two men are really skilled. I'm leaving first to change clothes. When things are over, I will call you." "I may not have time. I have to go to school." Cheng Menjing said, "In fact, you don't need to visit him. Your official business is more important." "It's okay. I'll call you later," Qiao En said with a smile. Then he left quickly with his two stupid subordinates. After Qiao En's left, Jin Beibei looked at Xiao Chen and said with a smile, "Brother-in-law, you are so awesome. Transformers are really awesome." "What transformers?" Xin Jingxian was slightly dazed and she was startled again. She felt that Jin Beibei was quite weird today and her words were full of innuendo. Did she mean that Xiao Chen was a Transformers because he could turn into a white fox? It's the nickname that Jin Beibei gave to Xiao Chen. She said that he was awesome and could not only be a servant but also a detective. Cheng Menjing explained, "Jingxian, just ignore her." "Oh." Xin Jingxian nodded. She thought that it was fine as long as she was not talking about him. Because of the incident with Qiao En's, everyone's interest was not high anymore. After dinner they went home. In fact, this was also in line with Lu Zhenming's idea. Lu Zhenming was going to attend the summit in the evening, so he naturally wanted to leave early. After returning to the car, Qiao En's glared at his two subordinates. "What's wrong with you two? Or are you warriors? Can't you even do such a small thing?" "This is a mistake," Zhu Jin and his monkey cheeks said bitterly. "Alright, stop wasting time. Let's go and find a bath center. I want to take a bath. This is 2F*King uncomfortable," Qiao En said angrily. Yes, senior brother Qiao. Zhu Jing quickly started the car. In the afternoon, Xiao Enz appeared in the office of Chu Jingbian of the Warrior Guild in Songning City. Chu Jingbian received Xiao Enz warmly. Although Xiao Enz was his junior in the past, Xiao Enz's identity was completely different now. He was here to investigate a case, so Chu Jingbian had to be careful. Deacon Xiao, welcome. I have received the official letter from the Warrior Guild. Don't worry, I will fully cooperate with you. Chu Jingbian said directly. Well, I want all the information on the White Fox. Give it to me. Xiao Enz said. Alright, I have prepared it. Deacon Xiao, please take a look. With that said, Chu Jingbian handed Xiao Enz a document about the White Fox and said, It's all here. The official letter had already stated that Xiao Enz and the others were here to investigate the death of Li Shanying and the information on the White Fox. Alright. Xiao Enz actually did not want to care about this matter. When he saw the information on the White Fox, he was indeed a member of the Devil Star sect. Moreover, he should be a relatively outstanding disciple. It was a little difficult for him to meet such a person. If he were to bring him for questioning, he might not necessarily cooperate with him. If he did not investigate and go back, the Li family would not be willing. Xiao Enz was actually ambitious. He also wanted to fight for the position of president of the Warrior Guild in the future. Logically speaking, with Li Shanying's death, he should be happy that he had one less competitor. However, as a member of the Law Enforcement Hall, he had to give an explanation. If he did not bring back any information after coming here, wouldn't there be a problem with his ability? This would bring a stain to his future competition for the position of president, so he had to investigate and find out the reason. In fact, he also knew that the challenges of the summit were in line with the rules. What he needed to do was to investigate why the White Fox killed Li Shanying so ruthlessly, or whether there was any enmity between him and Li Shanying before. Thinking of this, he carefully looked at the information in his hand and used his hand to knock the teacup on the table rhythmically, thinking about the connection. At this time, there was a knock on the door of Chu Jingbian's office. Chu Jingbian said, "Who is it? Please come in." "President Chu, it's me." The person who came in was Qin Huanling. As soon as he entered the door, he said, "President Chu, thank you very much for yesterday. By the way, did Hero White Fox say anything after he went back?" However, after saying that, he saw that there were still 3 people sitting in the room. He was stunned for a moment and was a little embarrassed. "President Chu, you have a guest. I'll take my leave first." "Okay, go to your work. We'll talk about this later." Chu Jingbian nodded. "Wait, come back here." Xiao Enz pointed at Qin Huanling and said, "Ah, you called me?" Qin Huanling was a little unhappy. Who is this person? His tone is like an order. I'm not his subordinate. Does he think he's Chu Jingbian? Seeing the displeasure in Qin Huanling's eyes, Chu Jingbian quickly introduced, "Huanling, this is Deacon Xiao from the Law Enforcement Hall of the Warrior Guild's Secular World Headquarters. He's here to investigate a case." Deacon Xiao. Hello. Qin Huanling was startled. He knew that the Law Enforcement Hall's deacons were all ruthless characters. Although they didn't dare to say that they could directly touch Qin Huanling if they offended them, they could go back to the Warrior Guild and say that Qin Huanling was incompetent. It wouldn't be long before he was taken down. Qin Huanling hurriedly greeted Xiao Enz respectfully. You know White Fox. Why, are you familiar with him?" Xiao Enz asked. That's okay." Qin Huanling didn't understand what Xiao Enz meant. He didn't know why he asked this question. Did he know about White Fox or something else? He hadn't seen the official letter yet, so he didn't know Xiao Enz's purpose. "What's on your mind?" Chu Jingbian glanced at Qin Huanling and reminded him to tell the truth. "Are you familiar with him or not? Then do you know why White Fox wanted to kill Li Shanying?" Xiao Enz asked. "If you know, then hurry up and tell me. Otherwise, you know the consequences if you don't report it." Qin Huanling was stunned. Why did White Fox want to kill Li Shanying? It seemed that Xiao Enz was here to investigate White Fox. Thinking about how White Fox went to his house to cause trouble yesterday, he couldn't help but say angrily, "I know this." Chapter 378. "Oh, you know about it?" Xiao En's gaze fell on Qin Huanling. "Alright then, tell me. Is there something you're hiding? If you tell me well, you'll be handsomely rewarded." Chu Jingbian didn't want Xiao Enz to get involved in these emotional matters. Chu Jingbian was very smart. Xiao Enz couldn't represent the Warrior Guild, and he might not be investigating Li Shanying's death sincerely. After all, Xiao Enz was a beneficiary of Li Shanying's death. Chen Huanling didn't know anything, yet he rushed to take revenge just because White Fox humiliated him yesterday. His personality wasn't good. Thinking about how he had a good personal relationship with Chen Huanling, Chu Jingbian had to distance himself from him in the future. This man was too petty and vengeful. However, he couldn't stop Chen Huanling in front of Qiao En's, so he could only let him continue. White Fox's girlfriend is called Xin Jingxian. She's from the Xin family of Jianghu. On the first day of the summit, Li Shaniying's opponent was Xin Jingmao. Only after Li Shaniying injured Xin Jingmao did White Fox make a move. He stood up for the Xin family and killed Li Shaniying. That's the whole story, Chen Huanling said. Oh? So White Fox's challenge was a personal matter, and not a fight between the righteous and demon sects? Qiao En's eyes flickered as he asked. In fact, everyone knew in their hearts that the summit between the righteous and demonic factions was mostly caused by personal grudges and friction between the two factions. At this time, Qiao En's brought out his personal grudges, which was obviously nonsense. His goal was to pin a crime on White Fox. However, Chen Huanling wasn't convinced. He also wanted White Fox dead. White Fox had humiliated the Chen family yesterday. He was the vice president of the Warrior Guild. If he didn't do anything after someone kicked his door, how could he live in the future? Now that he could use Qiao En's hand to teach White Fox a lesson, he was very happy to see it, so he added oil to the fire. I heard that at that time, Li Shaniying had already admitted defeat, but White Fox still killed him to vent his anger. It's just that Li Shaniying's mouth was beaten out of shape, and the words he spoke were unclear. Perhaps only White Fox, who was also in the arena, could hear him. No one else could hear him clearly, so in the end, the referee of the summit ruled that White Fox was not responsible. However, the details of this matter must be carefully considered. Yes, can you take responsibility for your words? Qiao En's nodded and asked. Yes. Chen Huanling replied in a firm voice. All right, if that's the case, I'll report it to the higher-ups. This White Fox has violated the Warrior Guild's taboo by using the summit as an excuse to vent her personal anger. Qiao En's was still speaking when a knock came from the door. What is it? Chu Jingbian asked. President Chu, there are 2 foreign warriors outside saying that they want to report a case, a disciple of the Warrior Guild said. Report? Let's talk about it later. I have a guest here. Chu Jingbian said. Who are they? Why do I have to receive them personally? Normally, there would be no need to look for the president of the Warrior Guild personally for a small matter. It was obvious that these 2 were not ordinary people. Therefore, after much consideration, Chu Jingbian decided to ask one more question. It's the people from the Golden Bell sect. They said that the White Fox was a busybody and bullied them and injured them. The disciple said. Let them in. Chen Huanling was overjoyed when he heard that. This is the law enforcement hall's deacon sent by the higher-ups to investigate the White Fox's case. He has the authority to ask about everything related to the White Fox, right? That's right. Let them in. Qiao En's was delighted to see Chen Huanling so obedient. He did not mind putting more crimes on the White Fox anyway. It would show how selfless he was. Although Li Shaniying was his competitor, he did not gloat over his misfortune. Instead, he did his best to investigate the case, which would leave a good impression on the higher-ups. In fact, from Qiao En's point of view, since Li Shaniying was already dead, he could use this matter to show his ability. It was a worthy death. Seeing that the 2 of them had spoken, Chu Jingbian couldn't do anything about it. He thought that Chen Huanling was too talkative, so he could only nod and say, let them in. Yes. The disciple retreated. Not long after, he came back with 2 people from the Golden Bell sect. They were Junior Brother Ma and Senior Brother Chu. Junior Brother Ma's injuries were not treated in time, or rather, he did not want to treat them. In any case, he had arrived miserably and appeared in front of these people. Tell me what's going on. This is the law enforcement hall's deacon of our Warrior Guild headquarters. If you have any grievances, he will definitely help you and uphold justice. Chen Huanling pointed at Qiao En's. Yes. Junior Brother Ma and Senior Brother Chu were overjoyed, especially Junior Brother Ma. He rolled his eyes and recounted his miserable experience with tears and snot streaming down his face. Although the story was roughly the same, it was completely distorted by him. We went to Temple Fair Street to buy a pair of binoculars so we could watch the summit competition at night. However, who would have thought that we would be forced to buy a pair of binoculars for 10,000 yuan? President Chu, Vice President Chen, you are all locals. How can there be such an expensive price on Temple Fair Street? If this isn't extortion, then what is? Yes, that's a big market. There aren't many binoculars that cost more than 100 yuan. Chen Huanling nodded in agreement and gestured for him to continue. Right, Vice President Chen knows better. Junior brother Ma nodded. Think about it. Even a normal person wouldn't be able to tolerate such a thing, let alone us who are more skilled martial artists. So, we got into an argument. Who would have thought that the White Fox would interfere? He beat me up just because he knew those scammers. Not only that, he extorted 20,000 yuan from me and beat me up like this. Not only that, he insisted on deducting 20 challenge points from us righteous sections. Do you think that's fair? We've been wronged. This White Fox is so tyrannical and shameless. Qiao En slammed the table in anger. I thought Li Shaning was an isolated case. It turns out that this has already aroused the public's anger. It seems that if we don't deal with this White Fox, we'll be in trouble. Yes, I've long heard that this White Fox is tyrannical. Qin Huanling nodded. Now I suspect that my son Qin Jinping was killed by this White Fox. Oh? What? Your son was killed by him? Qiao En's was stunned. What? Sai, isn't it because of that B** TC Xinjingxian? She used to be my son Qin Jinping's fiancée, but she hooked up with this White Fox. I won't say much. Let me show you a video. I'll tell you as I watch. As he spoke, Qin Huanling took out his phone and played the video that Xie Qin sent to Qiao En's. Then he told Qiao En's about what happened and how Qin Jinping was raped by a hoodlum. This White Fox is so tyrannical. He's the scum of the martial artists. Qiao En's originally only wanted to fabricate a crime for the White Fox. Who would have thought that after this investigation, there was no need to fabricate anything? This was all ready-made evidence. Yes, I think so too. Qin Huanling nodded bitterly. If we don't get rid of this person, it'll be difficult to appease the public's anger. However, I'm only the vice president of the Warrior Guild. How can I go against the Devil Star sect? Only an expert from the headquarters like Warden Qiao can suppress him. Qiao En's thought for a moment and instructed Chu Jingbian, President Chu, send a notice to the Songning Summit now. Tell them that the Warrior Guild wants to investigate the White Fox. Tell them to stop all of the White Fox's competition qualifications and nullify all of his previous points. This isn't too good, right? Chu Jingbian was a little hesitant. Warden Qiao, the Righteous Devil Summit is not under the jurisdiction of the Warrior Guild. Moreover, there are higher-ups from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and the Hong Consortium overseeing it. You don't know about this, do you? Qiao En said faintly, there are some matters of the upper echelons that you may not be aware of. This dead Li Shanying, the colorful Li family, and the Hong Chamber of Commerce have an engagement. Think about it, if we help the colorful Li family investigate the White Fox, the Hong Chamber of Commerce will definitely support us. Moreover, our law enforcement hall is also under the jurisdiction of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. To put it bluntly, we're like a subordinate organization, who would go against their own people. Moreover, we're only investigating the White Fox. We're not trying to disrupt the summit, nor are we trying to control them. There's actually such a relationship. Qin Huanling was shocked. He slapped his thigh and said, that makes things easier. They're all on our side. President Chu, should I send a notice immediately? Since Warden Qiao has said so, I can only nod, Chu Jingbian said helplessly. Looking at Qin Huanling jumping up and down, he wondered why he hadn't realized that this person was so proactive in the past. All right, I'll go send the notice now. Qin Huanling stood up and walked out in a few steps. He was filled with resentment, so his words were very harsh. He directly stated that the Warrior Guild wanted to investigate the White Fox. What he meant was that they had to hand over this person and stop the competition. However, in his opinion, be it the Hong Consortium or the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, they were all on the same side. Of course they wouldn't stop them. As for the two managing elders, they definitely wouldn't stop the Hong Chamber of Commerce and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. After all, the backing and background of these two organizations made them wary. Moreover, at the end of the day, it was the referee who had the final say on whether to stop a person from competing. Indeed, after receiving the notice, the Warrior Guild passed it on to Song Huawu and Hongzhu. Judges, what do you think? Elder Wang represented the righteous sects, so he naturally hoped that the White Fox would be disqualified from the competition and have all his points deducted. That would be beneficial to the righteous sections. I think we should cooperate with the Warrior Guild's investigation and disqualify this person from the competition. Chapter 379. Elder Wang, that's not right. That's just your side of the story. Are we supposed to cooperate with them if they want to investigate this today and that tomorrow? Is the summit still going to be held? What are we supposed to do if they ask us to leave? Elder Su represented the demon sect. Although White Fox had killed Leng Youxiang, the points earned by the demon sect were real. If it was cancelled, the points would be gone. He was naturally unwilling. Besides, there are 2 referees here. This is the decision of the referees. What does it have to do with us? Elder Wang snorted coldly, then smiled at Song Huawu and Hong Zhu. What do the 2 referees think? Tell him to stay where he is. Don't interfere with the righteous demonic summit. Does he think he can represent the warrior guild? If he doesn't want to do it anymore, I'll call someone to replace him. What law enforcement hall warden? I think he has nothing better to do, Hong Zhu said indifferently. Elder Wang smiled bitterly. The person in front of him was really confident. The relationship between the Hong Chamber of Commerce and the Warrior Guild was very subtle. The people in charge of the 2 organizations had a good relationship, and he knew Hong Zhu's identity. With a call from Hong Zhu, Qiao En's might really be kicked out. However, he also knew why Hong Zhu would speak up for White Fox. After all, Hong Zhu was also a member of the demon sect. Naturally, he would side with them. Therefore, this was not incomprehensible. It mainly depended on Song Huawu's attitude. If Song Huawu supported the Warrior Guild, there was still a chance. Team Leader Song, what do you think? Who's from the Law Enforcement Hall? Qiao En's? Is he crazy? Who does he think he is to order me around? Song Huawu snorted coldly. Reject him. Tell him to look for me if he has any problems. All right. Elder Su smiled after hearing that. That's it then? Elder Wang had no other choice. It seemed that the other party was not going to listen to him. He had thought that the Songning Summit would agree to his request without hesitation. However, he hadn't expected that his request would be rejected in less than 10 minutes. Chen Huanling was dumbfounded as he held the rejection notice. He had volunteered to do it, yet he had failed. How was he going to explain this to Qiao En's when he returned? He was planning to rely on this big tree to see if there was any possibility of him rising in the future. Now that he couldn't even do the first thing well, how could he talk about the future? However, he did not dare to hide it, quickly took back the rejection notice and said to Qiao En's with a sullen face, President Chu, Deacon Xiao, this righteous and demonic summit directly rejected our proposal, you see. What? Rejected? Qiao En's didn't quite believe it. What did they say? Didn't they go through 2 judges? Yes, these are the opinions of the 2 judges. Chen Huanling handed the rejection notice to Qiao En's, then said with a wry smile, Deacon Xiao, look at what's written here. He didn't dare to read it out himself. After all, the wording was a little. Qiao En's took a look at the rejection notice and his face immediately turned red. Hong Zhu's opinion was that he had affected the normal progress of the summit. If he wanted to quit, then he should just say so. She would suggest to the higher-ups of the Warrior Guild to replace him. Song Huawu's reply was that she didn't agree, and if there were any problems he could look for her. Although Song Huawu's attitude was not as unyielding as Hong Zhu's, it seemed like she didn't agree either. Qiao En's couldn't let go of his pride. He hesitated for a moment and said, You don't have to worry about it, you don't have to worry about it. I will personally go to the summit to discuss some matters with Group Leader Song. Perhaps there are some things that can't be explained clearly in the document. Okay, then shall we go together? Chen Huanling said. Okay, you guys come with me. Qiao En's wanted to regain his pride. In his opinion, as long as he went to reason with Song Huawu and told the truth of the matter to her, with her personality, she should not stop him. The notice just now did not say what had happened to the White Fox, so it seemed normal that the summit had rejected it. If the Warrior Guild could casually disqualify someone from the competition, then it would be too much of a joke. Therefore, the 3 of them drove to the Zheng family's martial arts club with the 2 victims. In the workshop of the summit, they met Song Huawu, Hong Zhu, and the 2 managing elders. Group Leader Song, Miss Hong Zhu. Qiao En's didn't dare to be careless. He understood Hong Zhu's identity. In fact, he had always coveted Hong Zhu's beauty and status. He was a little envious of Li Shanpao and Li Shanying. Why could the colorful Li family form a marriage alliance with the Hong Chamber of Commerce? But he couldn't. In the past, in Qiao En's opinion, being able to form a marriage alliance with Cheng Menjing was already good enough. But now Cheng Menjing was just a lover in his eyes. He now had a higher goal to pursue. Of course, this was also because the Qiao family was different from the Li family. The Qiao family was one of the old families of the newly promoted Warrior Guild. It was different from an old family like the Colorfully family. The Colorfully family had been in the upper echelons of the warrior guild for several generations, while the Qiao family only had Qiao En's father. Well, Deacon Qiao, why did you come in person? I've seen the notice. It's not impossible to investigate, but it's impossible to directly disqualify White Fox from the competition and cancel his points, Song Huawu said straightforwardly. Investigate what? Do you think you're the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, using a chicken feather as a token of authority? Why don't I get our Hong family's Hong Ing team to investigate you tomorrow? Arrest you? How about we have a big fight? Hong Zhu looked at Qiao En's disdainfully, not putting him in her eyes at all. In Hong Zhu's eyes he was just a small fry. Qiao En's expression was a little awkward. He ignored Hong Zhu. In his opinion, as long as Song Huawu agreed, there wouldn't be any problems. Group leader Song, you don't know about White Fox's evil deeds. I'll explain it to you and you'll know. Oh, then go ahead. Song Huawu naturally wouldn't deny Qiao En's the right to speak. She was still a very fair person. First, the matter of White Fox killing Li Shanying. Qiao En's told Song Huawu about the matter. This matter is in line with the rules of the competition. It's a result that referee Hong Zhu and I unanimously determined. You mean that the result that we determined was wrong and unfair? You want to investigate both of us? Song Huawu asked directly after listening. This. Qiao En's actually knew that this matter couldn't be justified if it was exposed, but he didn't want this matter to change Song Huawu's attitude. Hence he said, of course this is only what I heard. If group leader Song says that there's no problem, then there's definitely no problem. But putting this matter aside, there's another matter. White Fox has already aroused public anger. What else is there? Song Huawu asked. Also, White Fox is bullying the market, forcing people to buy and sell. It's like this. Qiao En's told her about the matter at Temple Street. A telescope costs 10,000 yuan. Is that telescope made of gold? There's such a thing? Song Huawu was stunned. She felt that Xiaoqin was in need of money, but using this kind of method to earn money was really a little overbearing. Is this true? It's true. The people involved are here too. Xiaoma, tell me about it. As he spoke, Qiao En's asked Chen Jinping to invite the two victims at the door in. Yes, it's like this. Xiaoma rambled on, adding oil to the fire. Oh. Song Huawu frowned. Although her relationship with Xiaoqin was not bad, she couldn't bring herself to openly side with him. I know about that telescope. 10,000 yuan for one is not wrong. At this moment Hong Zhu spoke. The price of that telescope is 30 yuan. But because it's to be sold in the warrior guild, it has to be authorized by the Hong family. It has to be pasted with the logo of the Hong Consortium's Chamber of Commerce. We charge 5,000 yuan for each logo. Her telescope is priced at 10,000 yuan. It's also registered with the Hong Consortium's Chamber of Commerce. Xiaoma, right? It's normal to spend 10,000 yuan to buy a telescope. What? Do you think it's expensive? Do you think that the Hong Consortium is forcing you to buy and sell? Fine, then I'll inform everyone that the Hong Consortium in the secular world will no longer do business with you. Go buy from other consortiums. And that Golden Bell sect, put them on the blacklist as well. The others? Xiaoma was so scared that he wet his pants. It was one thing for him to be blacklisted, but if the entire Golden Bell sect was blacklisted, his master would hang him up and beat him to death when he returned. Miss Hong, please don't listen to junior brother Ma's nonsense. This is the truth. Senior brother Chu was also scared. He hurriedly told Song Huawu everything that had happened. Qiao, these are your so-called people involved? Distorting the truth? Song Huawu was a little speechless. She sneered at Xiaoma and senior brother Chu. This? I was also deceived. These two bastard sons of bitches, get the hell out of my sight. Qiao was so angry that he kicked junior brother Ma's butt and kicked him out of the room. Junior brother Ma's injuries hadn't healed in the first place. Now that he was kicked, he cried out in pain. Senior brother Chu also hurriedly ran out to support him. Look, even you want to kick this kind of scum to death, not to mention White Fox who saw injustice and stood up for him. Song Huawu said calmly. So, this is your evidence? That doesn't count. But there's one more thing, and that is that we must investigate White Fox. Qiao gritted his teeth and staked everything on this one throw. There's detailed evidence for this. What is it? Song Huawu felt a headache coming on. This Qiao really knew how to stir up trouble. The moment he arrived he came up with so many things. Moreover, it was one thing if these things were true, but he was obviously making them up. Chapter 380. Here's what happened. White Fox's girlfriend, Xin Jingxian, used to be the son of Songning Martial Guild's vice president Chen Huanling. Qiao En's threw out his most ruthless move. In his opinion, the evidence was irrefutable. Moreover, the person involved in this matter, Vice President Chen Huanling, is also here. Vice President Chen, your son was killed by White Fox. Song Huawu looked at Chen Huanling and asked. That's right. Chen Huanling gritted his teeth. He wanted to kill White Fox anyway, so he had no choice but to support Qiao En's. What evidence do you have? Song Huawu asked. Of course I have evidence. Please take a look, Team Leader Song. As Chen Huanling spoke, he took out his phone and showed Song Huawu all the video evidence on it. Song Huawu looked at Chen Huanling and said, so you're saying that Qin Jinping wasn't the one who raped Xin Jingxian, so he must have been killed by White Fox? What kind of logic is that? There's no one else. Chen Huanling gritted his teeth. He's the biggest suspect, so I asked the Martial Guild's Law Enforcement Hall to investigate him. Investigate him just because he's the biggest suspect. Song Huawu said coldly. Then I think that since you're framing someone else, you can forget about being a vice president. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau will investigate you. You're too selfish and you're abusing your power. I'll have my men take you away later. You? How dare you? Chen Huanling was furious. Because you're a scoundrel and distorting the facts, Song Huawu said indifferently. Team Leader Song, isn't that against the rules? Qiao En's was about to explode. He was here to investigate White Fox, so how did he end up investigating Chen Huanling? It wasn't that he couldn't tell that Chen Huanling wanted to rely on him. He had also hinted that he would accept Chen Huanling. However, in the blink of an eye, Chen Huanling had become a prisoner and was about to be investigated. How could this be? How could he still establish his authority? Would he still want others to rely on him in the future? He was a young talent who was about to become the president of the Martial Guild. Is it in line with the rules for you to investigate the White Fox? Song Huawu asked. At least the current evidence points to White Fox, proving that Qin Jinping was killed by White Fox, Qiao En said. What evidence? The so-called evidence could only prove that Xin Jingxian was not raped by Qin Jinping. Were there any other facts? Why didn't I see it? And there's no sign of a White Fox here. How did you point that out? Song Huawu couldn't help but be amused. Qiao En, can you be more realistic? If you can't investigate this matter, you can go back. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau doesn't need a law enforcement deacon like you. Team Leader Song, I've already said that it's just a suspicion. Currently he's the biggest suspect. That's undeniable. But do you mean that we have to stop him? Qiao En's expression was a little ugly. It's not an obstruction. Qin Jinping wasn't killed by White Fox at all. I've already been investigating this matter and there's already a result. I'm about to take action, but there's a problem in the middle, Song Huawu said. You investigated it? Was there a result? You're about to take action and then there's a problem? Team Leader Song, your excuse is hilarious enough. Why did you say that you're about to take action when I came to ask? And there's still a problem? Dare I ask what the problem is? Do you dare to say it openly in front of everyone? Qiao En's was also anxious. He came this time. If he couldn't find out the reason and left with his tail between his legs, then he would lose face when he returned to the Warrior Guild. So he directly shed all pretense of cordiality. Anyway, the Law Enforcement Hall was managed by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, but the other departments of the Warrior Guild didn't have any direct relationship. At worst, he could just go back and transfer to another department. She wouldn't be able to target him then. But now he absolutely couldn't back down. Otherwise, how would Chen Huanling, who had just defected, look at him? How would the other competitors of the president of the Warrior Guild look at him? So even if he had to argue with Song Huawu, he had to get to the bottom of this matter. Of course, it's not a big deal, Song Huawu said. Otherwise, you'll think that I'm just brushing you off. Well, if that's the case, then show me the evidence. Let me see what it is, Qiao En said. Song Huawu took out her mobile phone, dialed a number and said to the other side. Bring me all the investigation information on Qin Jinping's death. Not long after, two of Song Huawu's subordinates, who were also members of Team C, came to the office. They were holding a laptop in their hands. In front of everyone, the laptop was turned on, and a surveillance video was played on it. The video showed the entrance of Tsilu Street 18, where Qin Jinping's Land Rover was. After Qin Jinping parked the car, a man got in the car. Then the car vibrated a few times and the man got out of the car and quickly left. Everyone knew what this man did. He must have gotten in the car and killed Qin Jinping. After that, until Xin Zhenghao and Qin Huanling appeared at the door of the villa, no one got out of Qin Jinping's car, nor did anyone get in. In this way, the suspect could only be the person who got in and got out of the car. Li Shaning. Qin Huanling's eyes were about to burst into flames. He did not expect that the real murderer who killed his son was actually Li Shaning. But why? Why did Li Shaning kill Qin Jinping? What was the reason? Li Shaning killed Qin Jinping? Xiao En's face immediately changed. He never thought that he would find out that Li Shaning was a murderer when he came to investigate the cause of Li Shaning's death. To say that White Fox killed Li Shaning was actually in line with the rules. At the summit, life and death were not counted. If you died, it could only be said that you were not skilled enough. However, killing people in the secular world was against the rules of martial arts. Why did you assassinate Qin Jinping for no reason? Yes, so you should have seen it. Originally, after I investigated, I planned to control Li Shaning. However, because of the summit, we suspended the action and planned to do it after the summit. Who would have thought that Li Shaning would die at the summit? This is what I call an accident. Song Huawu said, now you understand why I said that it had nothing to do with White Fox, right? This. Xiao En's was really speechless. He looked at Qin Huanling with some resentment. *CK your mother. White Fox helped you to avenge Li Shanying's death, so he's your family's benefactor. Yet you jumped out and spouted nonsense. In the end, I was bewitched by you and thought that White Fox was the one who killed Qin Jinping. I even helped you to avenge him, but in the end, I got slapped in the face. And it was a slap. He thought that the final trump card was the cause of Qin Jinping's death. Who would have thought that it would become a joke? Deacon Xiao, do you have anything else to say? Song Huawu asked. No. Xiao En smiled bitterly. His smile was uglier than crying. He really did not have the face to stay here anymore. He hated Qin Huanling to the core. He looked at him and said angrily, Qin Huanling, take the blame and resign. I don't want to see you again. Deacon Xiao, I was also kept in the dark. I didn't know before. Qin Huanling was a little confused. It's fine if you don't resign, but you can solve this matter for me. Xiao En snorted and got up to leave. Now, he could not continue investigating White Fox no matter what unless someone stronger pushed for it or he obtained more absolute evidence. However, for now he had neither, so he could only leave with his tail between his legs. Qin Huanling was a little sluggish. He looked at Chu Jingbian and said carefully, President Chu, let's go back first. Chu Jingbian also expected better from Qin Huanling. This guy was so disgraceful that even the Songning Martial Guild was disgraceful. Then Chu Jingbian looked at Song Huawu and Hong Zhu and said, Team Leader Song Miss Hong, we will take our leave first. Let's go. This Qin Huanling has evil intentions. I will have someone investigate him. Song Huawu said indifferently. Don't. Qin Huanling staggered and nearly fell to the ground to his death. If he was investigated, he would lose a layer of skin even if he did not die. Although he might not have done anything major, he still sought some benefits for the Qin family. If this was investigated, he would definitely lose his position as vice president. However, Song Huawu did not look at him. Chu Jingbian pulled Qin Huanling away and left the summit office with his tail between his legs. When these people left the office, Song Huawu also planned to leave. However, she was stopped by Hong Zhu. Song Huawu, wait. I have something to talk to you about. Chem? Song Huawu was slightly taken aback. She looked at Hong Zhu. Talk to me? What is it? Speak. Let's find a place with no one around, Hong Zhu said. Elder Wang, don't the two of us still have things to do? Let's go, we have something to do. Elder Su stood up and said in a very sensible manner. Elder Wang nodded. He was naturally aware that Hong Zhu had something to say behind their backs. Therefore he left together with Elder Su. After they left, Song Huawu said, Can you speak now? Yes, you know Xiaoqin? Hong Zhu suddenly asked. Song Huawu was taken aback. Her expression changed slightly. However, she soon smiled and asked, You know him too, right? Same to you. No wonder, Hong Zhu said with a smile. Yeah, no wonder you didn't oppose me this time, Song Huawu said. If you keep talking about Xiaoqin in the future, I definitely won't oppose you, Hong Zhu said. You like him? You're the one who likes him. Song Huawu glared at Hong Zhu. Yeah, I like him. Otherwise, how could I have made him help me kill Li Shanpao and Li Shanying? Hong Zhu said with a grin. Chapter 381. Shameless. Song Huawu snorted. Demonic witch. Arrogant. Did you ask him to kill him? He did it for his girlfriend, didn't he? I did it too. Hong Zhu looked at Song Huawu with a smile. What, are you jealous? Who's jealous of you? I'm his desk mate, Song Huawu said. Hong Zhu suddenly realized. Team leader Song, you're playing a school romance game now. And you're saying you don't like it? I'm investigating a case, Song Huawu said. Whatever you say. Hong Zhu looked like he didn't believe her. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving? Song Huawu was a little speechless. Go. People with a guilty conscience leave quickly, Hong Zhu said. Are you crazy? I won't leave then. Let's see if you'll leave. Song Huawu sat there and didn't move. I won't leave either. Hong Zhu sat opposite Song Huawu, and the two stared at each other. After a while, Song Huawu started playing with her phone. Hong Zhu was bored and started singing, You're my little Hong Zhu. No matter how smart you are, it's never too much. You're my little Huawu. No matter how smart you are, it's never too much. Song Huawu also sang. When they returned to the warrior guild, Qiao En's immediately left. Chu Jingbian didn't know where Qiao En's went, but he didn't dare to ask. When they returned to the office, Chen Huanling's tears and snot were all over his face. He kept holding on to Chu Jingbian, hoping that he could come up with some ideas. President Chu, I was just muddle-headed. Now, not only have I offended Song Huawu, but I've also offended Qiao En's. What do you think I should do? Chen Huanling looked at Chu Zheng with tears in his eyes. Aren't you reaping what you sow? Chu Jingbian was also a little angry. Why did you get involved? Now you're in trouble, aren't you? She didn't care about you at all, and now she wants you to resign. Aren't you asking for trouble? Yesterday I told you not to provoke the white fox. The truth might not be so. Look, Deacon Xiao is probably thinking that you're an ungrateful person who knew about the situation and deliberately hid it from you. That's right. But I really don't know. Chen Huanling said with a bitter face. President Chu, you know me. I've always been on your side. You can't just ignore me this time. I've done my best to help you, so please help me. The Chen family can't do without me, the vice president. Otherwise the Chen family will be finished. Sigh. Chu Jingbian felt pity for Chen Huanling when he saw him like this. Chen Huanling was right. Although what he did wasn't very proper, Chen Huanling had always been very obedient. Among the vice presidents of the warrior guild, he was the closest to Chu Jingbian. Thinking of this, Chu Jingbian hesitated for a moment before saying, like I said last time, don't you have an illegitimate son? See if you can let him acknowledge his ancestors. That way your Chen family won't be without descendants and your status will be guaranteed. But will they care about me? Chen Huanling's expression was a little painful. If I'm heartlessly rejected, where do you think I'll put my old face? If you don't want to try, then there's nothing I can do. You know, although I'm the president of the Songning Warrior Guild, you're the vice president. I don't have much say in your appointment and dismissal. Now, the pressure from Qiao En's is a small matter. After all, this is only an internal problem of the Warrior Guild. When the time comes, I'll put in a good word for you. I'm afraid there won't be too much of a problem. Chu Jingbian said, but if the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wants to deal with you, you know the consequences. Those people can interfere as long as it's a warrior's matter. Why did you offend Song Huawu for no reason? Sigh. Chen Huanling sighed. I'll think about it and discuss it with my father. All right, but for the time being, before the dust settles, you should rest at home. Don't come to the Warrior Guild, Chu Jingbian said. This is also a kind of protection for you. I understand. Chen Huanling left the Warrior Guild dejectedly. Qiao En's was also very sullen. He did not expect to have such a bad start. When he returned to the hotel, he immediately called his father, Qiao Gao. And how is it? Did the investigation come to a conclusion? Qiao Gao's voice was very relaxed. After all, in his opinion, this kind of matter only needed to come to a conclusion and then let White Fox suffer a little. As for killing White Fox, Qiao En's did not have that ability. What the Warrior Guild wanted was a result that could make the Colorful Li family stop. Therefore, this mission seemed difficult, but it was actually very simple. Dad, there's a problem. Qiao En said. He explained the situation and then took the initiative to apologize. I was reckless. Oh. Qiao Gao frowned. He did not expect Hong Zhu and Song Huawu to obstruct him. It seemed that things were not going to be easy to handle. After thinking for a while, he said, "Actually, this matter is not your fault. There are too many problems. I did not expect that Li Shannying to be the murderer of Qin Jinping. This is a vicious cycle. How about this? Don't be in a hurry to close the case. Write a detailed report and submit it. The colorful Li family has seen what Li Shannying did, so they will not force you to close the case as soon as possible. After all, they are also in the wrong. You can stay in Songning City for a while. If there is a chance, continue the investigation. If there is no chance, I guess it will be left unsettled." "But if it is left unsettled, will it affect my reputation? When the time comes, people will think that I am incompetent and can't investigate anything." Xiao Enz was a little worried. "Didn't you say to wait for the opportunity?" Xiao Gao said, "But don't expect the warrior guild to send experts to suppress that white fox. After all, he is from the demonic star sect, not a rogue cultivator. You are going against the demonic star sect and the demonic sect. The best way is to wait for the summit to end, then think of a way to see if there are other breakthroughs." "I understand. In this period of time I will visit the Cheng family first?" Xiao Enz thought for a while and asked. "Yes, but between you and Cheng Minjing it's okay to play, but forget about it. I've already arranged a marriage for you," Xiao Gao said. "Oh? Who is it?" Xiao Enz was stunned. "You will know in the future. Right now it is still in the midst of negotiations, so it is better for you not to know. Just focus on your work." When Xiao Gao said this, he couldn't help but feel a little proud. The higher-ups might let me take over the position of the Warrior Guild's executive vice president. If I really succeed, then our Qiao family will surpass the colorful Li family. So, after this period of delay, if I successfully take over, not only will there be no problem with your marriage, but the colorful Li family will also not make things difficult for you. They will lay low and bear with Li Shanying's matter." "Really? There is news already?" Xiao Enz was instantly overjoyed. As long as his father could take the position of the Warrior Guild's executive vice president, then as long as he stabilized this position in the future, his strength would rise steadily. At that time he could definitely fight for the position of vice president or president. Because at that time, his father should be able to be promoted to the position of elder and enter the elder council. That would be the ultimate peak of power in the Warrior Guild. Currently, the reason why the colorful Li family was so powerful was because they had an elder who was still in the elder council. However, it was said that because he had been injured in his early years, his health was not particularly good. In other words, he would be passing away in a few years, so the colorful Li family would not make things too difficult for the Qiao family. "Yes, so Enz, you don't have to worry too much. Just do your own things," Xiao Gao said. "All right, I understand." Xiao Enz happily hung up the phone. In his heart, he was thinking about how to use this matter to persuade old Master Cheng to let Cheng Minjing become his concubine. Of course, this concubine was a legitimate concubine. In the world of martial artists, ancient martial arts customs were maintained. So, it was very normal to marry a wife and take a concubine. After returning home, Xiao Qin did not directly go to the Zheng family's martial arts dojo. Instead, he rested in his room. However, while resting, he received a call from Hong Zhu. "Hong Zhu." Xiao Qin picked up the phone. "Xiao Qin, I have something to tell you." Hong Zhu said, "Just now, someone from the law enforcement hall came to the headquarters of the Warrior Guild. His name is Xiao Enz. He is investigating you." "What? Xiao Enz investigated me? Is he retarded? He is my former classmate. Why would he investigate me?" Xiao Qin was a little puzzled. This person clearly knew his background, so why would he investigate him? Did he have amnesia or something? "He is your classmate?" Hong Zhu was suddenly stunned. "It can't be so coincidental, right? What I mean is that he is investigating your other identity, the White Fox, not Xiao Chen's identity." "Oh, if that's the case, then why is he investigating the White Fox?" Xiao Chen finally understood. It turned out that he was investigating the White Fox, not him. "There are 3 reasons, but the main reason is that you killed Li Shannying." Hong Zhu explained the 3 reasons to Xiao Chen, including the fact that Qin Jinping was killed by Li Shannying. "This surname Qin doesn't know how to thank me for avenging Qin Jinping, and even tried to frame me. He deserves to be suspended." After listening, Xiao Chen could not help but say, "Then, did Xiao Enz give up just like that?" "I don't know, but there is no point in continuing to investigate, unless he sends experts to take coercive measures against you, but it should not be possible." Hong Zhu said, "He doesn't have the ability or the need to do so. Oh, I was wondering why this person suddenly appeared in Songning City. So, he came because of me. Xiaoqun nodded, a bit of precaution in his heart. Alright, that's all I'm telling you. Song Huawu may call you again in a while. Let me tell you, you should be careful of her. Her background is a bit complicated, so don't get too close to her. Otherwise you won't even know how you died. Hongzhu reminded. Chapter 382. Isn't your background even more complicated? The little princess of the Hong Chamber of Commerce? Xiaoqun said. Which one of you isn't complicated? You know? Did Yi Baiye tell you? Hongzhu was taken aback for a moment before guessing. I'm fine. You can pursue me as you please. I'm single right now. Forget it. I already have a girlfriend, Xiaoqun said. But my fiancé was killed by you. Shouldn't you compensate me a little? Hongzhu suddenly countered with a question. Your fiancé? Oh. Xiaoqun was slightly taken aback. What a mess. Your fiancé is Li Shaning? Or Leng Youxiang? He had only killed 2 people recently and one of them was related to Hongzhu? But Hongzhu didn't seem to care about it. Why would he inform him? Li Shandiao, also known as Li Shanpao, Hongzhu said. Do you remember now? Tim. Xiaoqun finally remembered. He had heard that Li Shanpao had a very powerful fiancée, but he hadn't met her and thought that it was fine. He didn't expect it to be Hongzhu. His family is so weak. You are the princess of the Hong Chamber of Commerce. Why did you marry him? It was decided when the colorful Li family was at its peak. At that time, the leader of the colorful Li family was the president of the Warrior Guild, who is also one of the current elders of the Elders Guild. But he's about to die, Hongzhu said. Besides, the Xiao family is so weak. Why did you get engaged to the Qing family? There must be some historical reason. Oh. Xiaoqun nodded. He suddenly thought of something. That night, the female assassin was you? It was me. Xiaoqun did not expect Hongzhu to admit to it so straightforwardly. Originally, I was thinking that even if I, Hongzhu, do not like it, my fiancé cannot be casually killed by others. So, I came to you to test things out. And then I found out that I did something good for you. Xiaoqun suddenly realized that he seemed to have become the fiancé killer. Stealing other people's fiancés. Li Shanpao and Li Shaning were like that, and so were Qin Jingquan and Qin Jinping. Good my ass, shouldn't you compensate me a little? Hongzhu said. How are you going to compensate me? I can't compensate you with me, Xiaoqun said. In your dreams. If you marry me, your status in the Hong family's Chamber of Commerce will rise exponentially. If our Hong family works hard, you will be able to become the president of the Warrior Guild. Hongzhu curled his lips. You still haven't reached my standards. Work hard and let me see. Forget it. I'll work hard to help you make money, Xiaoqun said. That's exactly what I mean. If you help me earn some money, we'll be even. Hongzhu said with a nod. After hanging up the phone, Xiaoqun was about to pack up and head to the Zheng family martial arts dojo when his phone rang again. It was Song Huo. With a wry smile, Xiaoqun picked up the phone. Song Huawu, what's up? You're not going to tell me about Hongzhu, are you? How did you know? Song Huawu was slightly taken aback but immediately understood. By the way, your phone has been busy just now. It can't be that she called you, right? Let me tell you, you have to be careful when dealing with her. She's a demoness who eats people without spitting out the bones. Don't rush up to her just because she's pretty. She's scarier than Yi Xiaoya. Xiaoqun didn't know what to say. Why was it that in Song Huawu's eyes, Hongzhu seemed to be a demoness who ate people without spitting out the bones? Previously, Yi Xiaoya had also described Hongzhu in the same way. However, Yi Xiaoya didn't seem to be scary at all. Oh, what? I'm saying something nice to you. Listen. Song Huawu said. Do you know Hongzhu's real identity? Her background is very complicated. She's the granddaughter of the Hong family's Chamber of Commerce, and her position in the Devil Sect isn't low either. She's a popular candidate for the next Devil Sect saintess. Don't provoke her or you won't even know how you died. Oh, Xiaoqun replied. What's wrong with you? Did you listen to me? Song Huawu asked. I listened, Xiaoqun said. Then what did you say? Song Huawu was a little depressed. Hongzhu said that your background is more complicated and told me to stay away from you. Who should I listen to? Xiaoqun said with a bitter smile. Her? She's lying to you. I don't have any background. I'm just the deputy leader of Team C, Song Huawu said. I don't have a shocking background like her. That's why I'm not going to listen to anyone. That's it. Xiao Qin said. Do whatever you want. However, you have to pay attention to that Xiaoans. Hong Zhu should have already told you, right? I know this person. His father has a high position in the warrior guild. I'm afraid he won't let this go. Song Huawu reminded him. After you attend the summit, disappear for a while. Don't let anyone get hold of you. I understand. Xiao Qin nodded. The warrior guild still cares about this kind of thing? Do they have nothing better to do? It's just that Li Shannying's background is more powerful. In short, it's not a big mistake to be careful. Song Huawu said. Okay, I understand. Xiao Qin responded. However, he was not too worried. At most, the identity of White Fox would remain silent for a while. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Qin drank the decocted medicinal liquid and trained for a while. After the medicinal effect had taken effect, he bid farewell to the eldest miss and went to the Zheng family dojo. Today was also the last day of the Songning summit. Xiao Qin sat in his previous seat. Yi Xiaoya also arrived at this time. Hey, you went out early in the morning. Why are you only back now? Yi Xiaoya asked. Something came up. How was it today? Did anyone cause trouble for you at the summit? Xiao Qin asked. He was afraid that Ling Youxiang's accomplices would cause trouble for Yi Xiaoya. Not really. Besides, I was in my room the whole day. Who would cause trouble for me? Yi Xiaoya said. You didn't cause trouble again, did you? Not really. It's just that the warrior guild has investigated me for killing Li Shanning yesterday. Xiao Qin said. Why should I? Yi Xiaoya asked back. One of Li Shanning's elders is from the warrior guild headquarters. Anyway, the relationship is a little messy, but it doesn't matter. Xiao Qin shook his head. For the time being, there's nothing to worry about. Song Huawu blocked him. Oh. Yi Xiaoya nodded. After the summit, hide for a while. Appear again when the limelight is over. I think so too. After the summit, I plan to seize the time to practice for a while. Can I find you? Xiao Qin asked. Yi Xiaoya glared at Xiao Qin. Naturally, she knew what he was thinking. But the matter of dual cultivation was also very beneficial to Yi Xiaoya. It was just that it was a little awkward for the two of them to practice together. Especially Yi Xiaoya's mental cultivation method was of the fire attribute. If she practiced the mental cultivation method too fast, it would cause her clothes to spontaneously burn. At that time, Xiao Qin would take advantage of her eyes. But thinking about it, it was not the first time that he saw it, so Yi Xiaoya said, We'll talk about it when the time comes. The competition of the summit began. The rules were the same as yesterday, and the challengers were randomly selected. After several rounds of competition, Yi Xiaoya entered the arena. Her opponent was a warrior of the Tang family of Jianghu who was at the peak of level 5 internal force strength. He was from the Tang family of Jianghu, which was the main family of Tang's family. If Yi Xiaoya fought with the martial artist of the Tang family at the peak of the 5th level, the victory would be 50-50. But now, after the dual cultivation with Xiao Qin, Yi Xiaoya had reached the strength of the devil cultivator at the 6th level of internal force. She could easily suppress her opponent. Sure enough, Yi Xiaoya won the final victory. In fact, there was no suspense. After Yi Xiaoya came back, Xiao Qin congratulated her. Are you praising me or insulting me? I'm not proud of defeating a martial artist at the peak of the 5th level of internal force. Yi Xiaoya smiled helplessly and said, It's all thanks to my breakthrough. Otherwise it's hard to say who would be the winner. Xiao Qin nodded. The rules of the competition were not very reasonable. But in the world of martial artists, there was no such thing as fair and reasonable. The next match, challenger number 17, representing the Devil Sect, White Fox, versus challenger number 2, Yu Danding. Whoosh, the audience was in an uproar. They hadn't expected the White Fox to fight again. At this time, everyone remembered that the White Fox's 2 matches yesterday were arranged battles and not randomly drawn by the officials. And now, the White Fox's opponent was the second strongest of the summit, Yu Danding. In the eyes of these people, this battle would definitely be very exciting. After all, the White Fox's skills were so powerful yesterday. Even Li Shanning and Ling Youxiang had died at the hands of the White Fox. Today it would still be a battle between experts. If White Fox's opponent was a 5th level inner force martial artist, or if Yu Danding's opponent was a 5th level inner force martial artist, there would be no meaning in this match because there was no suspense in the outcome. But now, everyone was full of anticipation. Xiao Qin was also a little surprised. He did not expect to face Yu Danding, but he still got up and jumped into the arena. On the other side, Yu Danding also walked into the arena. He was a person who looked similar to Yu Xiaochuan. After he came up, his eyes were fixed on Xiaochen. A moment later, to everyone's surprise, Yu Danding said, "I admit defeat." Everyone below the ring was stunned, including Xiaochen himself. He had not expected Yu Danding to admit defeat right away. Furthermore, he had done it so cleanly and decisively. He had not even tested it before spitting out those 3 words. In fact, Yu Danding had his own considerations. Like Li Shanying and Leng Youxiang, he was a person of status. He was the most likely person to become the leader of the martial arts world in the next few decades. The leader of the righteous sects was called the leader of the martial arts world. His status was equivalent to the leader of the devil sect, so Yu Danding would not risk his life. Chapter 383. In the current Jianghu of the secular world, there were 4 publicly recognized top organizations, all of which were targets that all martial artists strive to reach. There were the leaders of the martial arts world of the orthodox sects, the leader of the demonic sects, the president of the warrior guild, and the president of the Hong Chamber of Commerce. Of course, the last one was hereditary and outsiders had no chance. However, they were recognized as the 4 most powerful people in Wulin. Of course, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was also very powerful, and they even governed all the martial artists in the secular world. However, this organization was an official organization, and they rarely participated in the fights of the martial arts world. They would only take action when one side violated the rules. Therefore, when Li Shanying and Leng Youxiang died at the hands of the White Fox last night, Yu Danding secretly prayed that he would not run into an opponent like the White Fox. However, he did not expect his luck to be so good today. The more he did not want to run into an opponent, the more he ran into one. However, he quickly made a decision, and that was to admit defeat. He could not see through White Fox. Although his strength might be similar to his, at the peak of Stage 8 inner force, it was a fact that he was stronger than Leng Youxiang. Yu Danding knew that he was no match for Leng Youxiang, so he was even less of a match for White Fox. Therefore, he chose to admit defeat cleanly. "Thank you for letting me win." Xiaochen instantly understood the reason and secretly thanked his luck. Otherwise, even if he could have won, it would not have been easy. After all, his strength was similar to Yu Danding's. If he wanted to win, he would probably have had to use some of the techniques of a cultivator. In this match, challenger number 2, Yu Danding, admitted defeat, so challenger number 17, White Fox, wins. Elder Su announced. He was the happiest. The demonic sects were powerful and he also felt proud. Based on the current development, the demonic sects were undoubtedly going to win. Xiaochen raised his hands and accepted the cheers of the victors below the stage. Although this victory had come too easily, on second thought, it was also because he had revealed his strength yesterday that he could win so easily today. Shen Jingshuan's mood was a little complicated. Looking at Xiaochen on the stage, she knew that Xiaochen had gradually reached the peak of his life. At least in Songning City he rarely had opponents. He was no longer the useless Xiaochen of the past. At that time he didn't cherish him and didn't like him. Now that he was so dazzling, there must be countless people who liked him. Faintly sighing, Cheng Menjing was a bit confused. "Jingxian, why are you unhappy? The White Fox won and it was so easy. You should be happy." "What does my happiness have to do with me?" Shen Jingxian said faintly. She didn't know why, but it seemed that the estrangement between her and Xiaochen was getting worse. "Since you have chosen him, don't think too much. I think at least he is much better than Qin Jingquan and Qin Jinping, right?" Cheng Menjing smiled and explained, "Besides, which man is not a playboy? Isn't Xiaochen the same? He used to pursue you and Kerlin in front of me. What could I do? Didn't I still have to accept it? Now he is very close to Tang Tang and sometimes he is even with Yi Xiaoya. What can I do? Apart from accepting it, I have to accept it, right?" "That's true." Shen Jingxian was annoyed with Xiaochen. Wasn't the example that Cheng Menjing used to refer to the White Fox himself? However, Shen Jingshuan's mood was a lot better. At least, the first person that Xiaochen liked might be her. By the way, why is the White Fox wearing different clothes than he did at noon? Wasn't he wearing a white coat before? Cheng Menjing was a little puzzled. Who knows? It's hot so he took it off. Shen Jingxian naturally knew that the white coat was bought by Xiaochen at noon to prevent others from seeing what he was really wearing, so he put it on at the last minute. He must have taken it off and thrown it away afterward. It would be strange if he still had it now. Oh. Cheng Menjing nodded. Handsome, so handsome. Yu Xiaochuan was cheering for the white fox. Are you crazy? Yu Danding is your cousin and you are cheering for the white fox? Tang Tang was a little puzzled by Yu Xiaochuan's behavior. In her opinion, Yu Xiaochuan seemed to have a little problem with his brain. Perhaps he was stimulated so he always did things that were different from ordinary people. Zhu Yingxiong was also a little puzzled. Why did Yu Xiaochuan admire Xiaoqin so much? But this was good. He heard that his boss liked Tang Tang. If Yu Xiaochuan worshipped the white fox, it would be a good thing for him to give his woman to the white fox. So Zhu Yingxiong said, Big brother is right. The white fox is really handsome. Big brother, you have to keep an eye on sister-in-law. Don't let her fall in love with the white fox and abandon you. Haha, if that's the case I have no regrets. Yu Xiaochuan laughed. Tang Tang frowned. What did Yu Xiaochuan mean? He had been trying to get information from her in the past 2 days. It seemed that he wanted her to have a relationship with the white fox. Why was he so disgusting? Could it be that in order to please the white fox he had sacrificed himself? Tang Tang couldn't imagine it. She didn't think that Yu Xiaochuan was such a pervert before, but now the more she looked at him, the more she thought it was possible. On the other side, Lu Jinming was also a little excited. He said to Jing Xiaoquan, the white fox is so awesome that his opponent directly admitted defeat? Although it's pretty awesome, it also reduces the number of fights. By the way, what's the strength of that Yu Danding? Why is he so weak that he directly admitted defeat? The peak of stage 8 inner force. Jing Xiaoquan rolled his eyes. This was strength that he didn't even dare to think about before, but now he could only admit defeat. What? The peak of stage 8 inner force? Lu Jinming was a little dumbfounded. Then why did he admit defeat? Yesterday the white fox killed a demonic cultivator at the peak of stage 8 inner force. What do you think? Jing Xiaoquan rolled his eyes and said, I know what you're thinking, but you'd better save it for a nobody like you. The white fox may not be in the mood to deal with you. I have to try. Lu Jinming hesitated for a moment. This was an opportunity for the Lu family, and he naturally wouldn't give it up easily. Do you think the white fox will drive me away if I go there now? I don't know. If you want to try, then go ahead. Jing Xiaoquan said that, but whether the white fox would hate Lu Jinming or not, that had little to do with him. Xin Jianghao was still sitting with LV Fangjin today, but on the other side of LV Fangjin sat the president of the Songning Warrior Guild, Chu Jingbian. LV Fangjin already knew about what happened yesterday and today, and Xin Jianghao also knew about it. Xin Jinghao's feelings were a little complicated. He did not expect that the white fox would provoke the warrior guild even though she had made a name for herself. This was something that Xin Jianghao did not want to see. He was a little hesitant now. He did not know if Chao Enz would continue to take coercive measures after he returned. After all, if he took extreme measures, he was also afraid that the Xin family would be implicated. Qin Huanling, that bastard, added oil to the fire and embroiled the Xin family in it. How could this guy be so shameless? However, he was also unwilling to draw a line between Xin Jingshen and the white fox. Risk and reward coexisted, and he could see that the white fox had potential. Old LV President Chu, will the white fox be in danger? If the matter is really settled by the warrior guild, will they take coercive measures against him, such as capturing him back? Xin Jianghao asked worriedly. That won't happen. As long as he doesn't violate some specific rules, such as attacking ordinary people in the secular world for no reason, using force to commit crimes and so on, the warrior guild won't interfere with other matters. For such controversial matters, unless the White Fox's sect agrees, they won't dare to touch the people of the demonic star sect, President Chu explained. President Chu was a neutral person. Although he was promoted by Qiao En's father, he wouldn't offend others for the sake of Qiao Gao, especially a person with a strong background like the White Fox. Today he vaguely felt that there was a deeper meaning behind LV Fangjin asking him to sit beside him. It was also a warning. Given LV Fangjin's status, it was abnormal for him to sit with Xin Jianghao. All of this showed that LV Fangjin and the White Fox knew each other and supported the White Fox. This way, no matter how stupid Chu Jingbian was, he would know that he wouldn't be too involved in the White Fox's matters. I see. That's a relief. Xin Jianghao heaved a sigh of relief. In his opinion, the demonic star sect would never give up on an outstanding disciple like the White Fox because of such a small matter, unless there was something wrong with the demonic star sect. President Chu, are you free later? How about the three of us have a meal together tonight? That's not a problem for me, but it depends on old man Lu's schedule. Chu Jingbian didn't dare to be careless in front of LV Fangjin. LV Fangzhen was a person of great status while he was just a junior. Sure, let's have a simple meal then. LV Fangzhen nodded. He had always been supporting the White Fox. Otherwise he wouldn't have gone to a meal just because someone invited him. Jianghu was overjoyed. He had never thought that one day he would have a meal with the two big shots, Chu Jingbian and LV Fangzhen. Otherwise he wouldn't have married into the Chen family. Wasn't it because of Qin Huanling's position as the vice president? Now LV Fangzhen, who was even more powerful, could eat at the same table. Even if LV Fangzhen didn't directly help him, he could still brag about this matter. Lu Zhiming waited for the White Fox to leave the arena before he tiptoed over to the White Fox and Yi Xiaoya's seats. White Fox hero. Oh, Lu Zhiming. What's the matter? Xiao Qin glanced at Lu Zhiming and asked. Chapter 384. White Fox hero, do you know me? You even know my name? Lu Zhiming was surprised and suddenly he was happy. What's going on? White Fox hero actually knows me. Oh, I heard Jingxian talk about you. Xiao Qin said faintly, do you have something to say? Yes. Lu Zhiming said quickly, that I don't know if White Fox hero is accepting a younger brother. What do you think of me? Xiao Qin didn't expect Lu Zhiming to be so shameless and straightforward. Was there a need to say it directly if he wanted to be someone's younger brother? Ugh, haha, I'm a straightforward person. White Fox hero, please don't misunderstand. I really want to be your younger brother because I admire you so much. I think you are my idol. Lu Zhiming said in a disgusting manner. Oh, but I heard that you seem to have a boss in school named Xiao Qin? Xiao Qin asked. Hey. Lu Zhiming was shocked. This White Fox hero seems to know everything? He actually knows about my school? But thinking about it, White Fox hero was Shen Jingshuan's boyfriend. Shen Jingxian and Qing Menjing were like one person. Shen Jingxian would naturally mention Qing Menjing's ex-fiancé, Xiao Qin. Therefore it wasn't surprising that White Fox hero knew about these things. But he still quickly denied it. That was actually just a joke. It's fake. How can I casually recognize a boss? After all, I'm also a member of the Songning Lu family. Only a heroic person like White Fox hero can be my boss. Oh, Xiao Qin is my little brother. Originally, I thought you were his little brother. In that case, you're barely my little brother. Since it's just a joke, don't be an eyesore here. Hurry up and scram, Xiao Qin said with a sneer. Quack. Lu Zhiming was shocked again. What? Xiao Qin is hero White Fox's little brother? When did that happen? F***, I misunderstood, so I hurriedly said, no, what I mean is Xiao Qin is indeed my boss, but he seems to think that it's just a joke, so he doesn't take it seriously, but I am serious. Xiao Qin nodded. I see. Then, do I count as your little brother now? Lu Zhiming waited for a long time, but he didn't see Xiao Qin say anything. He just said that he understood. What did that mean? He was a little annoyed at himself for talking too much. Since the White Fox swordsman had already investigated, why didn't he tell the truth? He was now in a very passive position. Follow Xiao Qin for a period of time. I'll see how you perform. If you perform well, I'll take you in, Xiao Qin said calmly. Okay. Then I'll go back now. Boss White Fox, I'll leave first. Lu Zhiming was very excited. It seemed that White Fox had finally relented, which meant that he still had hope. After Lu Zhiming left, Yi Xiaoya was a little puzzled. You know Xiao Qin? Yes, you know him too? Xiao Qin asked calmly. And he lives with me in a villa. As Yi Xiaoya said this, she suddenly thought of something. Oh yes, since that person taught you the dark flame palm, then it's not too strange that you know Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin didn't understand what Yi Xiaoya was talking about, but he didn't want to ask in detail. He was afraid that the fact that he was Xiao Qin would be exposed, so he could only reply, that's good. When the time comes, I'll find you for dual cultivation and ask him to help. Don't. Yi Xiaoya was shocked. It's better not to let him know. What's wrong? Xiao Qin couldn't help but be stunned. Nothing. Yi Xiaoya shook her head as if she was somewhat conflicted. What's going on? You seem to be hiding something from me? Xiao Qin asked curiously. Everyone has a little secret. Don't ask. Yi Xiaoya hesitated and said, White Fox, it's impossible for anything to happen between you and me, so don't have any illusions about me. If we cultivate together, then we cultivate together. Whatever you see, you have to forget it. Do you understand? Otherwise, it's not good for you and me. That's how it is. Xiao Qin nodded. And I also have a girlfriend, so it's all misunderstood. Whether it's a misunderstanding or not, that's your business. I don't care, but you have to remember what I said to you. Yi Xiaoye reminded. Okay. Xiao Qin agreed readily. At the Righteous and Demonic Songning Summit, the normal challenge competition had ended. Next was the challenge segment. As the saying goes, take revenge if you have a grudge. Everyone had the chance to challenge others. Xiao Qin and Yi Xiaoye were both sitting in the challenge area. Xiao Qin had already challenged others yesterday, but Yi Xiaoye didn't have anyone to challenge. In fact, there were very few people who actually challenged others. Only a few of them went on stage in succession. These people's strength was about the same. Perhaps there were some small conflicts before, but very soon no one challenged again. In fact, these contestants who came to participate in the challenge rarely had any deep hatred. The people who had deep hatred were their elders. Many of them didn't know each other, so there was no need to challenge them. This time, the Songning Righteous and Demonic Summit was very successful. No one challenged again, and Elder Wang came out to preside over the closing work of the summit. However, I hope that after the summit ends, everyone will put aside their personal grievances in the competition. This is jointly supervised by the Hong Chamber of Commerce and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. I don't want anyone to violate it. Because at the end of the summit, I gave you a chance to challenge each other. If you didn't, then you can't challenge each other privately afterwards. In fact, what Elder Wang said was basically nonsense. For example, Li Shanying and Ling Youxiang, who were killed by Xiao Chen, were dead. How could they challenge each other? In other words, those who were not as strong as others would lose no matter how they challenged them. If they had to add points, who would dare to challenge them? After the event, they would find a stronger fellow sect member to take revenge. Only then would they have a chance to take down the other party. It was impossible to take revenge directly at the summit. Perhaps some people think that you are not strong enough and want to find someone to take revenge. That's fine too. We'll settle it at the next summit. Elder Wang is right. I don't want anyone to break the rules after the summit ends. Elder Su also said, okay, now let's invite the two judges to announce the score of the competition. Song Huawu slowly said, the Righteous Sects have a total score of 450 points in this competition. The Devil Sect Alliance has a total score of 510 points in this competition. Hong Zhu also said, according to the scores of both parties, the Devil Sect Alliance is the winner this time. Cheers instantly came from below the stage. These people were all devil cultivators. Since the beginning of the Righteous Devil Summit, the Devil Sect Alliance had always been at a disadvantage and rarely won. No one expected them to achieve a complete victory today. How could they not cheer? In fact, those who paid attention could also see that in this competition, White Fox alone had obtained the most individual points. A whopping 40 points. Li Shanying, Yu Danding, Junior Brother Ma, Senior Brother Chu. These 40 points were the 40 points that turned the tables. If the Devil Sect Alliance did not have these 40 points, and the Righteous Sects had these 40 points, the outcome would be different. At that time, the Righteous Sects would have 490 points, while the Devil Sect Alliance would have 470 points. In this case, the Devil Sect would definitely lose. However, Xiao Chen did not mind. He told Yi Xiaoye that he would look for her when he had time and left the venue. He had to leave quickly. It was not appropriate for him to appear in the public eye for the time being. However, before he could go far, his phone rang. Xiao Chen thought it was the young miss, but it turned out to be Hong Zhu. Hong Zhu? You're looking for me? Xiao Chen picked up the phone and was a little puzzled as to why Hong Zhu was calling him again. I have something to do. Can you come to the pharmacy and help me look after it for a while? Hong Zhu's voice was very urgent, as if something had happened. Me? Help you look after the pharmacy? Xiao Chen was stunned. He was a little puzzled. Can't you just close it? Won't the pharmacy be closed when you come to attend the summit? A few days is a few days. Don't I have something to do? If I close the shop again, Hong Yin will definitely scold me to death when she comes back. My pharmacy is about to close down. I have to reopen it tonight. Besides, I've already put up a notice, Hong Zhu said. Damn, then what am I going to do? Help you sell medicine? Xiao Chen asked. Yes, anyway there are prices on it. Just sell it according to the price. Hong Zhu said. All right. Xiao Chen thought for a moment. Hong Zhu had helped him a lot, so now that Hong Zhu asked him for help, he really couldn't refuse, so he agreed. Then I'll go to your pharmacy now? And go quickly. I'm also rushing over there. Hong Zhu said. All right, see you later. After Xiao Chen finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Zhu hung up the phone and sensed the aura. There should be no mistake. This person was the candidate his master was looking for. Zhu had come to the secular world, to Songning City, not only to help Hong Yen look after the store, but also to shoulder an important task, and that was to find an outstanding candidate for the sect. The Heavenly Fox sect that Zhu belonged to specialized in bewitching techniques. However, whether it was Zhu or anyone else, none of them were particularly suited for bewitching techniques. Although bewitching techniques could be cultivated by any woman, if one wanted to cultivate it to perfection and reach a higher realm, one must have a suitable physique. Innate charm was a very rare physique. This kind of charm was a kind of inner charm. It was different from those external charms that were flaunted. It was innate and not an effect that was produced through training and cultivation. Zhu's aptitude could only be considered average. Moreover, she did not want to have any great development in this field. She only wanted to learn some skills. Her first task was to manage the Hong Ing group of the Hong Chamber of Commerce. This was her goal and also what she liked to do. Chapter 385. Therefore she was quite opposed to Li Shanpao's marriage. Once she married Li Shanpao, then Hong Ing Group's authority would have to be handed over, because the Hong Chamber of Commerce was not a monolithic entity. After several thousand years of development, Hong Zhong, who was at the helm, already had many descendants. Although Zhu's grandfather was the main bloodline, there were also many other relatively close collateral relatives, such as Zhu's cousins. Which of these people did not want to replace him? Zhu had only two goals now. One was to find a woman with a natural charm and replace her. Although Zhu's aptitude was not very good, she was considered one of the best in the Heavenly Fox sect. The Heavenly Fox sect only had a candidate for the position of Demon Sect Saintess every few decades. The Heavenly Fox sect had placed great hopes on Zhu, so if she did not find someone who could replace her, it would not be easy for Zhu to get away. Although she was an important figure in the Hong Chamber of Commerce, it was the sect that taught her martial arts cultivation. Zhu was not an ungrateful person, so she must finish what she started. She was a demonic cultivator who practiced the bewitching bone technique, so she was particularly sensitive to the aura of the bewitching bone technique. However, she could not say that she could tell who was who in the vast sea of people with just a glance, let alone search aimlessly. However, it was not that there was no way. When a woman with a natural charm had the strongest desire in that aspect, she could feel the existence of the other party. In Songning City there was a woman with a natural charm. This was accidentally sensed by other people in the sect when they were carrying out other tasks in Songning City. However, the aura was coming to an end, and the people in the sect had other things to do, so they missed it. However, the approximate location was near the Little Hong Pharmacy where Zhu was. There might be a slight deviation because the person had sensed it in action. It was just that Zhu had not sensed anything even though she had been here for a very long time. Thus, in her opinion, the location of the pharmacy was perhaps just a kilometer away from where that naturally bewitching person was. Perhaps that person had only booked a room in a nearby hotel, or perhaps there were other reasons. In short, there had been no news for so long and Zhu was about to give up. However, she did not expect to be discovered today. Although a virgin's body had a miraculous effect on cultivating the charming bones cultivation method, a woman who had lost her virginity had a natural aptitude. It was not that she couldn't cultivate it, but the effect would be slightly worse. However, if there was a man with a compatible physique to cultivate with her, she would receive an incredible effect. Therefore, it was not important whether she was a virgin or not, and Zhu was not in a hurry either. As long as he could find the other party, it would be fine. As for when the other party had that desire, it did not matter whether it was pure desire or doing that kind of thing. However, this kind of aura was continuous. Only when the other party had a desire, Zhu would be able to resonate with it and sense it. Within a radius of 1 kilometer he would be able to track it. And on her way back to the pharmacy she sensed this aura which made Zhu a little anxious. However, she couldn't just ignore the pharmacy. There were some things that she didn't say. Grandpa Chen had called earlier and said that there might be a very important customer coming to buy medicine tonight, so he told Zhu to hurry back as soon as possible. As a result, Zhu was in a bit of a dilemma. She rarely told her family about the matters of the sect, and her family matters could not be delayed. After all, she was the person in charge of the Hong Ing group. After that, she thought of grabbing a strong man and brought Xiaoqin to look after the store while she went to track that aura. At the entrance of Little Hong's pharmacy, Xiaoqin saw Zhu, who was looking around anxiously while waiting. He could not help but think that this little demon girl ran really fast. She actually arrived much earlier than him. However, thinking about it, she and Song Huawu were the judges of the summit, so there would definitely be a special car to pick them up. On the other hand, because he had concealed his identity to go to the summit, he did not drive. Of course, he would not be as fast as her on foot. "Hongzhu, go and do what you need to do. I'll help you look after it," said Xiaoqin. "Then I'm leaving." Hongzhu nodded and did not say anything else. She immediately left with quick steps. After thinking about it, Xiaoqin did not change his appearance. He still appeared at the pharmacy with the appearance of a white fox. If he appeared here with Xiaoqin's appearance, it would be even worse if he was discovered by someone with ulterior motives. However, the white fox was also a demonic cultivator, so it was not a big deal for her to be acquainted with Hongzhu. Moreover, Hongzhu had helped him several times during the summit. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that he and Hongzhu had some sort of relationship. However, it was different for Xiaoqin. Even if Xiaoqin came here to buy medicine, why would he help Hongzhu look after the store? It was obvious that the two of them had some sort of relationship. It would not be good if someone with ulterior motives became suspicious, especially when they were being investigated by Qiaoens of the Warrior Guild. After entering the pharmacy, Xiaoqin sat behind the counter, where Hongzhu usually Saturday. There were no cultivation resources here, so Xiaoqin could only foolishly sit there and take out his phone to browse through the Warrior Guild's missions. Now that Xiaoqin was not lacking in money, he did not have much interest in the low-level missions of the Warrior Guild. However, he could post mission commissions here and there. Thinking about it, Xiaoqin had never failed to post a mission before. And now he needed spirit jades. After hesitating for a while, Xiaoqin issued a mission commission in the name of the White Fox. Previously, he had announced to Lu Jinming that Xiaoqin was his little brother, and Xiaoqin had been collecting ancient jades for a while. Now, if the White Fox were to collect ancient jades, there would not be too many suspicions. After all, a little brother collecting ancient jades for the boss was reasonable. Therefore, Xiaoqin issued a commission to collect ancient jades. However, he added a lot of restrictive conditions and descriptions. Even so, it was impossible to guarantee that the ancient jades were spirit jades. In this way they would have to meet and trade. Although it was a little risky, it was worth it when compared to the cultivation rewards. Xiaoqin's bounty was not low. 10,000 points for a piece of ancient jade. If converted into cash, it would be 10 million. Although 10 million might be the auction price of some ancient jades in the secular world, 10,000 points was still more attractive to martial artists. After posting, Xiaoqin waited for someone to reply. However, after browsing for more than half an hour, no one accepted the mission. Some people even commented that it was very strange. Why would a martial artist want this thing? If they wanted to collect it, go to the antique market. It was purely a waste of points. During this half an hour, Xiaoqin sold medicine a few times. However, they were all the commonly used medicines such as cold medicine, stomach remedy, Huaxiangjingqi water, and so on. Just when he was feeling bored, the door of the pharmacy was pushed open again. This time, it was a young girl in a dark yellow tang suit. She carried a woman who looked to be in her 40s or 50s. She hurried into the pharmacy and came to Xiaoqin. "Welcome. What medicine would you like to buy?" Xiaoqin stood up and asked in a professional manner. As for his white fox mask, no one thought there was anything wrong with it. Nowadays, for the sake of commercial sales, many shops would make some strange props and costumes. For example, the receptionists in big panda costumes at the entrance of shopping malls and the clowns at the entrance of restaurants. However, it was a little strange to see such a person in a pharmacy, but not surprising. It was just that the young girl, looked at Xiaoqin and felt a little strange. "Why are you here? Are Master Qin or Master Lu here? I contacted them before." "Master Qin? Master Lu? They are busy and not here. You can tell me what you want to buy." Xiaoqin also looked at the young girl in front of him strangely. She looked very ordinary. In the vast sea of people, one could not even tell her apart at a glance. However, with Xiaoqin's sharp divine sense and mental strength, he could sense that she was wearing a mask. It was a high-precision mask similar to a human skin mask. There were no flaws on the surface and only people like Xiaoqin could sense it. Therefore, Xiaoqin was secretly vigilant against this young girl who did not show her real face like him. He did not know why she was here. Was the person on her a patient? "With you? Are you a pharmacist?" The young girl seemed a little anxious, but there was a hint of disdain in her words. "My master has a problem with his cultivation. He is possessed by the devil. He must find a pharmacist to treat him as soon as possible. Otherwise his life will be in danger. In the vicinity, the best medical skills were Apothecary Lu and Apothecary Chen from Little Hong's pharmacy. The young girl felt lucky that they were close to here and could make it in time. If she returned to her sect, she might not be in trouble. However, even though he was a little distrustful of Xiaoqin, he sounded too young. At most, he was the disciple of Apothecary Lu or Apothecary Chen. He had no choice but to say it. "Oh, then wait for a while," Xiaoqin said faintly. "They are not here. I have an appointment with them. Can you help me contact them? I can't get through to Master Chen's phone, and I don't have Master Lu's number." The young girl was a little anxious, but her tone was not very good. "I don't know either," Xiaoqin said faintly. "If you want to find them, just wait. If you want to find me, I will show you." "Can you see? Do you know how to read it?" The girl glared angrily at Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin smiled faintly and did not say anything. This young girl's eyes were very beautiful and full of spirit. She should not be ugly, but he did not know why she was wearing a mask. Seeing that Xiaoqin did not speak, the young girl continued, "Only Master Chen or Master Lu can suppress my master's injury." I said, "Then you just wait for them." Xiaoqin was also a little impatient. "You came here to see a doctor and the doctor is not here. Then you just wait. I will show you, but you still don't want to do it. Who will care about you?" If it was not because he wanted to help Hongzhu and did not want to offend the guests, Xiaoqin would have asked them to leave. He had only said so much out of respect for Hongzhu. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bothered wasting his breath on this matter. Tomorrow, there will be a Fishman Book Club at Harbin University of Technology. Fans in Bing City, don't miss it. For details, see Fishman Prestige Urine 22. Chapter 386. Umph. The young girl snorted coldly. "Are you a staff member hired by this pharmacy?" Xiaoqin glanced at her and did not answer. He continued to play with his phone. "You." The young girl was furious, but she didn't say anything else to Xiaoqin. Instead, she anxiously dialed her phone. However, the other side of the phone kept ringing that she couldn't get through. This made her extremely anxious. After waiting for about 20 minutes, the young girl finally became anxious. She put down the phone and looked at Xiaoqin. "Hey, you don't know when they'll be back?" "I don't know," Xiaoqin said. "Then, can you take a look at my master? But are your medical skills good?" The young girl hesitated and said, "If it's not good, then don't look." Xiaoqin coldly replied. "Then, take a look." The young girl had no other choice. It was not a good idea to drag on like this. If she could not suppress her master's qi deviation, it would become more and more serious. Before he could return to the sect, he would die here. "Oh, the medical fees are very expensive. Do you have the money to pay?" Xiaoqin glanced at the young girl and asked coldly. If the other party's attitude was good to him, he would also be good for Hongzhu's sake. At the very least, he would not struggle with the medical fees. But now, the other party clearly had an arrogant and distrustful expression on her face. Xiaoqin naturally did not have a good tone and immediately asked for medical fees. "You." The young girl was about to explode. "Why are you so greedy? If you can suppress my master's injuries, I will naturally treat you well." "I don't believe you." "Prove it first. Do you have the money?" Xiaoqin was unmoved. "Why are you like this? Are you a doctor or not?" The young girl was anxious. In fact, she did not bring much money with her. She was a member of the pugilistic world and rarely brought money with her. She rummaged through her pockets and only had a few hundred yuan. Xiaoqin curled his lips and looked at the few hundred yuan on the counter. He coldly snorted. "So little. It's not even enough to pay for a visit, let alone treatment." "You?" The young woman stared at Xiaoqin. "Then, how much do you want?" Xiaoqin narrowed his eyes, looked at the girl in front of him and said, "My house calls usually start from a few million, or you can use other things to pay off the debt." Lecher. Seeing Xiaoqin's lecherous look, the young girl immediately thought of something. She glared at Xiaoqin and said, "I'll tell your master and let him deal with you." "Oh, my master died a long time ago," Xiaoqin said. He wasn't lying. His master really was dead. If he had to say that he was alive, then he could only say that the soul of the elder heaven ancestor was still alive. You scoundrel who deceived his master and destroyed his ancestors." The young girl was so angry that she wanted to stomp the person in front of her to death. In the eyes of a martial artist like her, deceiving one's master and destroying one's ancestors was a heinous crime, even more serious than murder and robbery. I said that you don't have enough medical fees so you can use other things to pay off the debt. You said that I'm a scoundrel who deceived his master and destroyed his ancestors. Are you crazy? Xiao Chen curled his lips and looked at the young girl strangely. Then what do you want to use to pay off the debt? The young girl asked. For example, you. When Xiao Chen said this, he paused for a moment. This was because his eyes swept over the ancient jade on the young girl's neck. There was a faint fluctuation of spiritual energy. He didn't even touch it, but it was already so obvious. This should be a good thing, not inferior to the jade pendant he was wearing before. The young girl's face suddenly became even uglier. She really couldn't understand why her appearance was so ordinary. Why would it attract the attention and desire of the person in front of her? Was there something wrong with this person's heart? Or was he a lecher who was so hungry that he couldn't be choosy? Don't even think about it. The young girl snorted coldly. Then let your master wait for her death. It seems that she won't be able to hold on for long. It seems that she has been possessed by the devil, and her body has produced a lot of devil energy that she can't refine, right? Xiao Chen glanced at the middle-aged woman's situation and guessed that it was about right. This. The young girl turned her head and looked. Sure enough, her master's face was gradually turning black. This was the sign of devil energy getting to her head. If she continued to not control it, her master's life would be in danger. Thinking of this, the young girl became a little anxious. Her master had treated her with great kindness. If something really happened to her master because of her persistence, she would not be able to live with it for the rest of her life. The young girl hesitated for a moment, gritted her teeth and said, "Okay, I'll do whatever you say. Now, is it here? Can you help me take a look at my master first? I've promised you and I won't go back on my word. Let's do it now. Maybe you'll go back on your word later." Xiao Chen smiled slightly and reached out to grab the young girl's chest. The young girl's body trembled slightly, but she stood there. She didn't stop him, nor did she dodge. She let Xiao Chen's hand attack her. However, what surprised her was that Xiao Chen's hand didn't shove into her chest like she had imagined. Instead, it stopped on the jade pendant on her neck. Xiao Chen pulled hard and the jade pendant was in his hand. Then, he retracted his hand and said, "Okay, let me take a look at your master." "What are you doing with my jade pendant?" The young girl was a little puzzled. Didn't Xiao Chen want her? "Oh, I'm talking about your jade pendant." But before I could finish, you interrupted me. "Then what did you think I wanted?" Xiao Chen touched the jade pendant in his hand. He was secretly excited. It really was a spiritual jade. And the spiritual energy fluctuation in it was extremely strong. However, on the surface he asked calmly, "Ah." The young girl was taken aback and a hint of anger flashed across her face. However, although this jade pendant was rather important and was a treasure, it could strengthen one's body if worn for a long time. However, she was a martial artist, so the effect of this thing was relatively small. She just didn't expect that Xiao Chen wanted this thing. Then why didn't he make it clear? Was he happy to let her feel ashamed and insulted? Xiao Chen grabbed the young girl's body and the middle-aged woman's pulse. Then he circulated the mantra and used his body's primordial chi to guide the disharmonious demonic chi in her body out. This demonic chi was accidentally produced, so it wasn't controlled by the middle-aged woman. There was no need to deliberately guide it. When Xiao Chen circulated his primordial chi, the demonic chi automatically entered his body. This demonic chi wouldn't be too much of a problem in Xiao Chen's body. When he dual cultivated with Yi Xiaoye, he could take advantage of the impact and dissolve it, turning it into the primordial chi in his body. Then, it would have the effect of increasing his cultivation. In Xiao Chen's opinion, it was very worthwhile to use this move in exchange for a piece of spiritual jade. Therefore, Xiao Chen directly absorbed all the disharmonious demonic chi in the middle-aged woman's body. There was not a trace left. This was also considered as a thank you to the master and disciple. Done. Xiao Chen stopped the circulation of the mantra, withdrew his hand and said to the young girl faintly, "Done? You just checked my master's pulse and said it's done? Are you a liar?" The young girl saw that Xiao Chen didn't do anything, so she said it was done. Wasn't this obvious behavior of a liar? Therefore, she directly questioned Xiao Chen. In her opinion, Xiao Chen must be a pharmacy attendant who wanted to cheat people. With this thought, the young girl's stage 10 inner force cultivation was immediately revealed, and it almost scared Xiao Chen to the point of peeing. What the heck, a top master? Stage 10 inner force. This was the first top martial artist that Xiao Chen had seen with his own eyes. How could they have such high strength? What was the background of these two people? If the disciple already had such a cultivation, then wouldn't the master be? However, on the surface Xiaochen was indifferent and said coldly, "If you don't believe me you can see for yourself. Don't show your poor cultivation, ignorant." You. The young girl was so angry that she withdrew the demonic qi on her body and snorted. She was also anxious about her master's situation. As a result, she was suddenly dumbfounded. The black qi on her master's face was gone. Instead, it was replaced by a normal color. Although it was still a little pale, it was obvious that he was fine. The young girl was shocked and quickly checked the condition of her master's body. However, what shocked her was that the disharmonious demonic qi in her master's body caused by qi deviation had all disappeared. Not a single bit. At this moment, the young girl was a little stunned and didn't know what to say. This person in front of her. Who was he? How could he have such superb medical skills? One had to know that even the masters in the sect couldn't do it. Although others could also expel the demonic qi, it would be channeled into other people's bodies. Similarly, the person who the demonic qi entered would suffer qi deviation, so no one dared to do it. They could only first find a pharmacist to control the demonic qi, then restore their sober state. With the help of elixirs, they could slowly refine the disharmonious demonic qi produced by qi deviation. However, this process was extremely long. It could take a year or it could even take 8 to 10 years. Depending on the degree of qi deviation and the degree of one's own recovery, the time would be different. In short, unless it was a supernatural being whose strength was much higher than her master's, only then would they be able to expel the demonic qi and dispel it easily. Could it be that this person's strength was higher than her master's? And he had said that her cultivation was pitiful. Didn't that mean that she was nothing in his eyes? At this thought, the young girl broke out in a cold sweat. Whether this person in front of her was a lecher or a scoundrel, he had an extremely high cultivation. Otherwise, how could he have dispelled the demonic qi in her master's body? From the looks of it, he didn't seem to be affected at all. In other words, this person's strength had already reached the acme of perfection. Actually, she didn't know that cultivators and warriors had two different cultivation systems. Therefore, even though the demonic qi was in Xiaochen's body, it didn't affect him too much. Because the attributes of vitality and demonic qi were different, they wouldn't clash with each other. Occasionally, some demonic qi would act up and cause Xiaochen some pain. For example, Leng Youxiang's chilly demonic qi. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.